incentivizing companies to, and even countries, for companies to come into
Gonna
America.
need about a minute.
And we're already setting
I get the
targets
other
to
streams up and we
put in
will
place.
be
The
live
number of
shortly.
tallies of
President
illegal
Trump
immigrants
is
in the
in
United
the
States
process of putting
is
a
very large. I want to be accurate. It's very
25%
large.
tariff on
And what I'd
all
like to do is go
vehicles
over
that are
this with you,
not
give some of the
built in the
basics, and
United
then I'll sign
States.
it, and
So we'll talk about
we'll
that.
talk to the
That was
people,
not what the
and
show
so
was
on,
about
and we'll
today,
see
but
it flourish like it's supposed to.
uh, that is what he is announcing right now as we speak. And he is about to put it on screen to be signed. You know how he holds up the documents to be signed, but a 25% tariff on all vehicles not built in the United States. Now, there could be some pros and cons to that. Some of the stuff that Trump is doing, you cannot just shoot it down as being bad. It has some of this stuff has got to play out. There could be some benefit to imposing a 25% tariff on all vehicles not built in the United States. Now, when it comes to foreign cars, we're no longer in an era where only wealthy people are driving around in foreign whips, as they say. I mean, Hyundai and Kia, all of those are foreign cars. All of those things are foreign cars. Now, will they all be built in America? 25% tariff on some of the really cheap foreign cars would be enough to probably make them maybe not worth purchasing. But give me a minute so I can get my other stream up because we're going to start talking in a moment about a potential witch hunt. So we're titling another witch hunt against President Trump, and the hits keep on coming. So let me go ahead and get this up and running, and we'll be talking shortly. So I'll let you hear Trump in the background for about 30 seconds here.
But we're going to have that. We're going to have lumber. We're going to free up some of our land, and you'll be able to make a lot of other standards like fire cuts. If Los Angeles had fire cuts, which they didn't have, that's a gap of half a football field between areas. You wouldn't have had the fires.
I can't put it on screen for copyright purposes, but I'm almost
we can
done
sell
here.
that wood for a lot of money, a lot of profit is made from that. But we're going to be doing lumber. We're freeing up our land so that so that we don't have to use outside sources of lumber.
Didn't mean to do that.
Energy, we're doing
Okay.
fantastically.
Real quick, I gotta make sure I didn't miss anything here.
Coming down rapidly as we increase supply, and we've already done that. Chris and Doug are doing a fantastic job in that. That's Department of Energy and Department of Interior. And they're working together hand in hand because Interior has the land and Energy has the ability to do the drilling and do what they have to do.
All right, we should be on.
Our coal
The hell just happened?
areas are going to be opened up for
Okay, that
clean,
just
beautiful
got killed.
coal. Germany's opening up many coal plants now. They tried the wind and it didn't work. They almost went out of business.
Okay.
They almost went bankrupt.
We're going to be talking about
Which is a disaster.
the fact that
Expensive, and it doesn't look
now we're not going to get too deep into Trump's tariffs because this is just coming in right now. Right now, as we speak, Trump is holding a press conference indicating he will be charging an additional 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in America. That was not what we were about to have the live stream about. That's actually breaking news right now on the auto tariffs. And as I stated on the warm up before we got into the monologue, there's a possibility that could be a good thing for President Trump. And there's a possibility it could go wrong. It's not something you can shoot down or celebrate just yet in regards to Trump imposing a 25% tariff on foreign cars. If it goes well, it could cause more Americans to purchase more American cars. Now, some would suggest that American cars are not very reliable. So that's another whole argument. All of a sudden now the price of a BMW, a Mercedes-Benz, a Hyundai, a Hyundai Tucson, a Kia Sorento, all of that stuff goes up 25%. So it could perhaps make Chevy, Buick more desirable. But as I just stated, some would suggest that the Buicks and Chevys are not that reliable compared to their foreign counterparts. But 25% extra in terms of a tariff is going to make those cars less desirable to purchase. So we will end up talking about that in the future. That is not what we're talking about today. But I do want, if you think the tariffs that Trump is imposing, and there's a significant amount of them. I mean, he is constantly using the word tariff against somebody here or another. So if you believe the tariffs that Trump is constantly imposing are a good thing, feel free to state that. We can talk about that. But we're going to get into what actually is going on in meat and potatoes. As you see, the live stream is titled Trump Witch Hunt Part 2, perhaps another witch hunt. Little sarcasm there. I see a few folks in the comments are already asking me, like, what the fuck? What do you mean another witch hunt? I'm going to ask this simple question. Why is Trump constantly being sued? Why is he getting sued so much? Now, I did a quick short. I want to give you another lawsuit that Trump is facing. Just another one that's literally breaking somewhat now. Judge James Boasberg. He is the one, you may not recognize the name, but you know the lawsuit. The Alien Enemies Protection Act from the 1700s that Trump was using to deport migrants down to El Salvador with no due process, invoking the Alien Enemies Protection Act. Judge James Boasberg is the one that ruled against Trump and has temporarily suspended his ability to continue those flights down to El Salvador without giving people due process. Now, you heard Trump state all over the damn place that Boasberg is an activist judge and he needs to be impeached. You've heard that everywhere, that he is getting in the way of an agenda to protect America, to protect the border, to make America safe. He's getting in the way of that as an activist judge, and Trump and his administration is saying that that judge needs to be impeached. Why is this a story? Now, there is another lawsuit against Trump. I cannot think of the name of the group right now, but I just did a video on this. But anyway, they're suing Trump, indicating that he violated the Federal Protection Act in regards to releasing classified information over the Signal app. So they're saying it's a federal act. I should have had more of this ready, considering I just took notes on this shit. I can't think of the actual act, but it's a federal act in terms of it releasing information that's classified over the Signal app. They're saying the Trump administration violated that act, and they're suing President Trump for that. Why is that even news? Because Judge James Boasberg, the same one that prevented him from sending migrants to El Salvador, has just got that case. So that same judge now is the one that's going to oversee whether they violated the federal act in regards to the information being released on Signal. Now, President Trump is claiming no confidential information was released. Of course, the reporter, and I see in the comments Goldilocks is accurate in saying the reporter will have to testify. The one that everybody is saying that hates Trump, hates the administration, that reporter will have to testify what he came in contact with, and that will give us a way of knowing whether Trump is correct in suggesting that no classified information was transferred over the Signal app. Simply put, before we continue on, by way of yes or no in the comments, simple yes or no in the comments, how many of you believe that Trump is correct when he suggests that no classified information was released over Signal? Yes, if you believe that. No, if you don't. Trump is saying no classified information was released over the Signal app. How many of you folks believe that? Yes, you believe it. No, you do not. Now, obviously, it'll come out in court. We'll see what happens. But that is the claim. I see a whole lot of people saying no. A couple people saying yes, but most of the folks watching seem not to believe President Trump. Wow. YouTube, I'm really surprised at you. My YouTube side of the house is normally MAGA. Must be a little early because goddamn, I didn't see one yes on YouTube. I actually got more yeses on TikTok. Wow. That's crazy. But yeah, he's saying that no classified information was released. I'm putting on the screen, is this another witch hunt? Because of course Trump is going to say that with Judge James Boasberg now dealing with him on two cases. I'm not 100% certain about this, But the case where he had prevented Trump from using the Aliens Enemies Act from the 1700s, the Trump administration obviously would appeal his ruling against them. If I am correct, and I'm admitting I'm not 100% correct about this because it just came in, I believe, before I came on air. I believe an appeals court has already shot Trump down, trying to have the ruling from Justice James Boasberg on the Alien Enemies Protection Act overturned. I believe an appeals court has just shot Trump down. So I guess he would have to take that one to the Supreme Court. That's him trying to be able to deport folks to El Salvador without having due process. In other words, you can pick somebody up, suggest that they're a gang member or a rapist, a murderer, whatever the hell you want to suggest, and they have no right to defend themselves in court. The Alien Enemies Protection Act that Trump was using allows that. Justice James Boasberg shot that down, denying Trump the right to use that. Trump has appealed that, and I do believe his appeal has failed, but the Supreme Court will be next. So, and now, of course, now that same judge is going to be overseeing whether Trump administration via Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard released any classified information over the Signal app. Trump is saying he did not. So we're going to talk about that. Why do you believe Trump is being sued over and over again? Is it a witch hunt? That is the primary topic of today's show. When I say being sued over and over again, I mean being sued suggesting that his executive order overturning birthright citizenship, being sued claiming that that is unconstitutional, being sued suggesting you cannot fire all these federal employees, you're not following their contracts and things like that, being sued on the validity of Elon Musk and his power, whether or not he can do what he's doing, being sued on whether you can violate what is supposedly First Amendment protections and deport folks simply because of what they're saying. In other words, an immigrant, green card holder, permanent resident speaks favorable of Palestine or speaks favorable of Hamas or just simply criticizes Trump, and suddenly they're deported. He's being sued on all of that. I do believe, if I'm correct, I read an article that suggests that Trump is dealing with over 125 lawsuits right now. 125 different lawsuits in 2 months. 2 months. He's only been in office for 2 months. So folks are saying he violated that much shit. Is it a witch hunt? Is it another witch hunt against Trump, as he might suggest? Or do you think a lot of this stuff is legitimate? That is going to be the first topic. Second topic is, before we go straight to the box, second topic is we talked about hypocrisy and due process yesterday. Well, I want to come to you with some more hypocrisy. When I talked about hypocrisy and due process yesterday, it was in regards to Trump using the Alien Enemy Protection Act, or whatever the hell it's called, from the 1700s, suggesting that you can deport people without due process based on a government accusation that they were a criminal, rapist, murderer, tattoos, whatever. Deporting people without due process. I use the example that every year in America, probably since this country was founded, you've had American criminals running from American lawmen, whether it's on horseback on all the way up to modern times, committed some crime in one of the states in this great nation. They're fleeing the local police. They're fleeing the sheriff. They're fleeing the U.S. Marshals, the ATF, the FBI, you name it. And oftentimes Americans will run into Mexico or into Canada trying to flee the law in the United States. Red-blooded American-born citizens fleeing the law, running into Canada or running into Mexico. Every single damn time, those countries give our people due process. I use the example, college fraternity brothers hanging out in Tijuana, hanging out in San Diego for spring break, wanting to cop a score, maybe cop some X, cop some type of narcotic. They sneak into Tijuana illegally to score some, whatever they want to score, to score some product. They're captured by the Mexican police or the federales, and all of a sudden Mexico wants to send them to a notorious prison in a different country that they've never been to. I'm asking that question. Would Americans be okay with that? Would Americans say, look, you entered Mexico illegally, you violated their laws, whatever happens to you, happens to you? Some nice, clean frat boys, college kids that did something like that. Do you think America, this is what I'm talking about when I said hypocrisy and due process. We discussed that yesterday. Well, I want to give you some more hypocrisy. Right now, you're hearing on the right, particularly from Trump, with this whole release of classified information over Signal, the claim that the reporter that broke the story, Goldsberg, for the Atlantic Journal, whatever the hell the media application he works for, he's a Trump hater. That I don't think that's up for debate. The individual that was brought into that Signal conversation, the war leak story, the individual that broke the story does not like Trump. That's not up for debate. You're hearing that all over the right, that this individual was a Trump hater, suggesting that him being a Trump hater should lead you to question his credibility. I want to present a counter, once again, hypocrisy. Remember the Hunter Biden story? Hunter Biden's laptop, all of the criminal activity that it turned over 10% to the big guy, all of that shit. Guess how they got the laptop? Hunter Biden left his laptop at a computer repair store, and somehow it fell into the hands of Rudolph Giuliani and Fox News. Just like Goldberg that broke the war leak story, there is no denying that Rudolph Giuliani and Fox News are Biden haters. Yet the right were totally okay with using that information coming from sources that clearly hated Hunter and his father, the Bidens. But yet somehow we're being told that Goldberg, because he's a Trump hater, the information doesn't always have the same credibility. We're talking about hypocrisy. I want to find out from you folks, how does that work? So we're going to have those two topics. As always, you know we don't block, ban, or censor. We are indeed MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Always have been, always will be. You can be critical of anyone on this program, including the host, including anyone in the comment section. That's how free speech works. We go left to Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with Q. So looking in the comments, right off the bat, this says, Mr. Jerry says, not a good comparison. Well, tell me how that's not. Tell me how a story being broken by somebody that hates the person they're breaking it against changes when Goldberg does it from when Giuliani and Fox News did it. Tell me how it's not how that doesn't make a good comparison. Because I didn't hear anybody on the right suggesting, well, you know Fox News hates the Bidens. You know Rudolph Giuliani hates the Bidens. All of a sudden now it's, well, you know Goldberg hates Trump. Tell me how it's not a good comparison. Looking in the comments, MAGA says America. Shout out to you. Let me go back straight to the box rather. We'll go straight off. Mike. Good evening, Mike. Welcome to the program. Am I getting it wrong? Is this a bad comparison, as one of my viewers said?
No, absolutely not. Before we get started, it's 200 people in here, man. We only got 5,000 likes.
It's early.
Man, 5,000 likes is if there was like 20 people in here. We got to get Tim up to 25,000 relatively quick. I mean, come on. We got 10 minutes. Let's get him up to 25,000 real quick.
I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it. By the way, tap the screen. He is correct. Tap the screen, get the likes up. So,
okay.
Go ahead.
No, ask your question.
Is there hypocrisy in suggesting that everybody's saying that Goldberg that broke this war leak story, somehow his credibility should be challenged because he doesn't like Trump? And I'm countering with the notion that when the whole Hunter Biden laptop story broke, the laptop came by way of Fox News and Rudolph Giuliani. They didn't like the Bidens. What's the difference?
There's no difference. And let's go. Let's take a step back because it wasn't a leak. Let's just be clear. It wasn't a leak, right?
Okay.
You would consider a leak that information came from a known source. Like I told you something and you shared it.
Okay.
He wasn't intended to be in there, and he didn't do it maliciously. He literally went through his own protocols as a journalist, and he did not just put it out there. So let's not act like he just saw it on his phone and he put it out there. I don't know how many people read the actual text messages from beginning to end. He was invited into the group unknowingly, right? They didn't know he was in there. He removed himself from the group, and they still didn't know that he removed himself. You saw? Did you read it?
No, I didn't read that part. But it's pretty clear they were not paying attention to who was in their own group. I mean, at any given time, somebody might hack their way or something. There should be somebody monitoring who all is listening to this conversation throughout the conversation.
Right. So it wasn't a leak. They just flat out fucked up. Period. They just fucked up.
Yeah.
They weren't supposed to be using that app, period, for this. They already knew that. They just got caught lying again today. They're not equivalent. This has nothing to do with Biden. This has nothing to do with Hunter Biden's laptop. This has nothing to do with none of that stuff.
Now, are you aware that in regards to this Signal app leak, there is a group suing the Trump administration saying that they violated the Federal Records Act, indicating that, you know, sending classified information over the Signal app was a violation of the Federal Records Act. The judge that's over this is the same judge that refused to let Trump use the Enemy Aliens Protection Act that Trump has been yelling the guy should be impeached.
Right. I saw that too. Listen, Tim, let's just, again, this is not Democrat. I had this argument earlier on a live. This isn't Democrat or Republican. This is process, procedure, and national security. Period.
What about it just being a mistake, though? Are the Democrats, are the left going too apeshit over this, over something that was a harmless mistake?
It wasn't harmless, number one. Let's stop saying it was harmless. They circumvented normal protocol, Tim. They circumvented normal protocol. Just period. It's not, listen, again, I take out Democrat or Republican. It didn't matter who the administration was. This is ridiculous.
But what about, okay, you're saying this circumvented normal protocol. According to Trump, it's harmless because there was nothing classified said on the app. So if Trump is telling the truth, is this not a harmless incursion?
Okay, let's start with point number one. He's not telling the truth because it was classified. You don't share location. You don't share. Tim, there was nothing in that text that should have been shared. We shouldn't know any of that shit. This is probably what is. We shouldn't know any of this. And they're not using the skiff that they're supposed to use, Tim. They're not supposed to use this.
Yeah, but everything you're saying is contingent on Trump being inaccurate. Trump said no classified. If Trump is correct, this is a bunch of something over nothing. I mean, what you're saying is based on the notion that Trump is lying.
Yeah, I'm saying that he's wrong and he's inaccurate. And have you talked to anybody in the military? Have you talked to anybody in the military yet?
Everybody in the military I've talked to on this said you should be in jail if you do something like this.
Okay, then, and I have too. Listen, they're trying to make excuses for it. They've already been caught lying, Tim.
Yeah. Pete
said there was no information, there was no detail about war, and then they showed the text, and they had the fighter pilots, they had the time. You don't think the time and what they're going to use it, you don't think the date, the time, and when they're going to use it is classified?
Yeah, well, they're claiming that the information is not that accurate and all of that never came across. I mean, this is where I assume Goldberg is going to have to testify before the court to prove that what Trump is claiming is nothing actually is something.
Okay, so in Goldberg's article or his report, when he said, because he said he wasn't sure if it was really accurate. He wasn't sure if he was trying to be pulled into something. So he sat in his car. Did you read that part? He sat in his car and waited because he had already read the text.
Yeah, he was wondering what to do.
No, but he said he read what time it was going to happen, all the detail, and he sat in his car during that time, and sure as shit, it happened.
Yeah, he wasn't certain of it until the bombing and attacks actually started happening. Right.
So, and it's funny. This is the problem. Now, when you go back to the text, you also get more detail on, and this isn't just the main thing, or this is the main thing. But did you see how poorly that they spoke about our European allies? How
Yeah,
they said
yeah, I did see that. When in addition to them passing emojis back and forth, you're trying to bailing out Europe. That's insulting to the entire NATO community.
Yes, they loathe Europe. So our strongest ally wakes up to reading that America loathes them. They're tired of bailing their ass out.
Yeah.
Listen, Tim, they can try to spin it. And listen, and any Trump supporter that wants to make an excuse, Goldberg didn't ask to be put into that group chat. He didn't ask for that. He actually did the right thing as an American, because some people maybe they sit on it and write a book about it later.
Mm-hmm.
All the while, our military could be in peril, right? Because they told him don't use that app. Because when you use that app, listen, once that data is encrypted from point to point, once it gets to your device is vulnerable. There could be malware on your device. These are the reasons why they're saying don't use that shit.
What is your opinion in regards to why such high-ranking military officials would use such a lowly protected app to begin with?
Because they don't want accountability, Tim. It's the reason why he's firing everybody and replacing them with loyalists. See, you can't be investigated if the people with the experience are there to investigate. Like, who would investigate this right now at the DOJ?
Yeah. So what you're suggesting is they were using Signal app akin to like a burner phone.
Yes, 100%. Tim,
never thought of it that way.
Yes, well, listen, if you want to do something, we'll think, okay, so let's take it to the streets. If you're trying to do something illegal,
right?
You have a different language. You're communicating differently. There's certain things. No, I'm not going to talk to you on the phone.
You coming to pick up 2 chickens.
Right. Yeah. Now I'm gonna come pick up 2 birds, and then I'll see you over at the whoop-de-whoop. The thing. Right. The thing. What's the fucking difference, Tim?
Yeah. But the fucking difference is they're claiming they didn't do anything wrong, though. Remember, you're actually judging Trump when Trump is pleading innocence and saying no classified information went back and forth.
Well, the funny part is, if you read the text, and people, as the trades of the world, people in the comments, clearly you haven't read the text. Clearly you haven't read the text, because they implicated that Trump knew in the damn text. Did you read it?
Wait. Didn't J.D. Vance indicate that Trump may not realize that this doesn't fit his agenda?
He said he may not understand, right? And so what we need to do was, I say we hold off for a month. Basically, that's what J.D. Vance said. Hold off for a month.
Oh yeah, he
did. Get our messaging together. Basically, get the people to believe that we're doing it for this particular reason.
Yeah, but Hegseth wasn't down for that. So ultimately, J.D. Vance changed his stance. Like, if you think it's okay, he went with what Hegseth was recommending.
That is true. That's what happened. But they also said that, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it open in front of me. Well, it's really POTUS's call, but we're going to give him 24 hours. That's what Pete Hegseth said. So they're already implying that he knew. They're already implying that they were running things through and he knew. But Tim, when have they ever admitted to anything? When has Trump ever? How many times he didn't know who the hell Michael Cohen was? So it's not new for him to say I didn't know anything about it.
Let me ask you this, because this is the elephant in the room. We heard that the other day, I believe Speaker, what is his name, Johnson or whatever his name is, he stated that, talked about potentially defunding the federal courts to prevent stuff like Boasberg from ruling against Trump. Do you see a possibility, with Trump facing 100 and some odd lawsuits, do you see a potential of this becoming reality where they have to, simply say, we're not going to win all these cases. Maybe it's time that we go nuclear on the federal courts?
I think the more these activities happen, the less likely that will be.
What do you mean?
I know they want to try to go nuclear on the courts like they're going nuclear on everything else, but I really think that they're losing confidence from people within the system. His loyalists are there. I'm talking about the other people that are still there. I'm even talking about some GOP congressional people that are have to look at this and go, what in the hell is going on? I mean, At the end of
I'm
the day,
not
Tim,
seeing that though, Mike. Every right wing outlet I'm looking at, they're downplaying with this whole signal leak. I don't hear anybody really holding them accountable in terms of the well-knowns, the Ben Shapiro's, the Sean Hannity's. Ain't none of them holding them accountable for
oh,
this.
I'm not talking about them. They're never going to change they're never going to change what they're doing. But just like somebody said in the comment, it's a constitutional crisis. You can't sweep this underneath the rug, and they're trying to do it as much as they can.
Right.
But from yesterday to today, you just found out that they lied yesterday, right?
You talking about Hexef?
Because more Hexeth,
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Donald Trump.
Well, Trump ain't been proven to lie yet. He said there's no classified information. He said he didn't know about it. That hasn't been
Well, he
proven
said he didn't
yet.
know about. That's been proven that he said he didn't know about it. Unless you're saying that when Hexa said it in the text that he was lying.
Well, Trump is
Because
like a villain in a cartoon. We always got to make sure he survives at the end. So let's go ahead and dig a tunnel for Trump because he got to escape this somehow. Now the rest of them, they're all expendable. Hexev, Gabbard, all the rest of them. But let's make sure Trump survives. You know how this works.
No, I do. I do know how it works, and I think that they're gonna toe the line. They're gonna sing the line. But here's the thing. Here's what I want to say to Trump supporters. What they're saying, and you got to go back and read the text because they literally said, we'll just tell them it was Biden. That's why they started coming out. Well, the Biden administration approved it, right? It was Biden and Iran, and basically they'll buy it, right?
Yeah.
And people, and I guarantee you, half the people that are pushing back haven't read it because they don't want to read it. But that's literally what they're saying. They're really trying to look at their supporters and go, we can just tell them anything and they'll buy it. This is egregious. Listen.
They're claiming it's not egregious like that, though, Mike. Look, it was a mistake. That's what they're saying. It was a mistake. It's not, you're making a mountain out of a molehill, is what the right is saying. It was a mistake.
I would love them to ask those pilots that were flying those F-18s if they thought it was just a mistake and it wasn't egregious. Because if those phones had gotten hacked, and people can say, now you're doing if, but isn't that what you're supposed to do is analyze the risk?
It's a good
Aren't
point.
you supposed to analyze the risk before it happens? You're supposed to analyze the risk. That's why you're not supposed to use things like that. That's why they have skivs. That's why they have protocol. So that doesn't happen. So
let me I gotta move it on. Before I move it on, let me ask you this. What would make you happy? Okay, we know what happened. What do you believe the follow-up should be? Should they fire the whole damn administration? How do we handle this? So we know it's not acceptable. We don't want it to happen again. What would you recommend?
Here's what I recommend. And I'm recommending this from Trump's perspective, not my own. If he wanted to get people off of his ass and grow even more support for his own cause, he would get rid of them.
Hexev, Gabbard, all of them.
Hexev and definitely Hexev. He would. But if he fired them all, you can't even argue about it at that point.
Yeah, you can. The liberals would shove it up his ass saying that, see, you picked a bad guy. We can't trust you. That's what the liberals will say. If he tried to do the right thing and get rid of these people, the liberals will still hold him accountable for picking them in the first place. Appreciate the galaxy, whoever just sent that. But they would still go after him.
Yeah, well, they're gonna go after him and say whatever they're gonna say anyway. But if he were to do that, and you asked me that question after he did it, what can I say? What can I say?
I know that you liberals. I hate to say it that way, but the liberals would just move on to something else. That, as Trump said, they're not going to give him credit even if he cures cancer. If Trump does the right thing and get rid of the bad element within his administration, they'll just find the next thing to criticize him on. And you know that, right?
No, listen, I'm not even debating that.
Shit, real talk.
It's been happening for 12. It's been happening for 12 years. So that's not the message. The message is if he wants to move his agenda forward, as if he's doing it for the reasons he says he's doing it for, this is one opportunity for him to quote unquote do something that shows accountability while he continues to move his plan forward. Is what I'm saying. If he does nothing, It's an opportunity for him to gain back some of the support he's losing. That's my point.
Okay,
if he does nothing, he furthers to lose that. That's all I'm saying. Because now you've got, listen, the one thing that I do know, you've got military families, and I read a report on it this morning, because that aircraft carrier is out of Norfolk, Virginia, right?
Okay.
Right?
I'm not aware of that, but I'll go ahead. Yeah. I'll let you say
that aircraft carrier is out of Norfolk, Virginia. So you had some families, based on what I read this morning, you had families with their kids that are in the military on that aircraft carrier were concerned. Are my kids in danger? How much information is out there? Wow. As a pilot, to know that you're flying somewhere on a mission and potentially they already know because of us.
That would be frightening. Well,
that's what it was. It just didn't happen.
And that's the thing. It is starting to look like with some of our allies stating that they're concerned about giving America intelligence because we may share it with Russia. It is starting to look like a lot of folks do not trust our current administration, but we'll see.
And listen, last word, because I know you got to go. Last word, on top of what you just said, let's get back to it. If they felt that way before and they read those texts, especially our European allies, how we talked about them so poorly in those communications, what they just did was solidify what they were thinking. You understand what I'm telling you?
They will read them. They will read them because now there's going to be a court case out of this. So Europe, I'm watching news out of France because I'm looking at how they're looking at our tariffs and stuff like that. I'm watching a lot of news out of Canada because I like their comment section, hearing what the Canadians have to say. They're covering what we're saying. So they will know what was in that back and forth about how we're claiming that we're sick of bailing out Europe and things like that. They'll know. They'll hear about it. They'll hear about it.
You don't think they know already? You don't think they know already?
More will know as it goes on because it will become a major court case.
100%. Last word on this, and this is to the people in the comments. These are the leftists, the liberals always assume. And in fact, listen, this is not a moment. You got to take all of that shit out of the equation right now. If you care about our military, if you care about the Constitution, if you care about America like you say you do, and you come to a conclusion that this wasn't a fucking big deal, you are not the patriot you say you are. Period. Full stop. Because this is not what I heard when Obama was in office. This is not when I heard about the Americans that lost their lives when Biden was in office. This is not what they said. I don't want to hear about none of that. This wasn't a leak. They fucked up. They were out of protocol. They shouldn't have done it. It put lives at risk. And now they're trying to make excuses for it. And you're just going right along with it.
All right, Mike.
Right along with it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right, moving on with the program. And listen, there are going to be folks that are going to hate Trump no matter what or love Trump no matter what, which is what he's talking about. There are some folks that are going to defend Trump no matter what. As some folks, as Trump often says, the liberals are going to hate on me even if I cure cancer, which there are plenty of liberals that is true about. But there are also plenty of folks on the right that support Trump so much that they would still show love to him even if he invented a new cancer that caused the deaths of millions of people. So, it works on both ways. Some would not show love if he cured cancer. Others would continue showing love even if he invented a new cancer. Looking in the comments, boy, you backpedal. Real quick, says Dan. Elaborate on that, Dan. How am I backpedaling? I see in the comments, did I say Angie Eater or something like that says I'm an ignoramus. I don't know if he's referring to me or the last caller, but Angie, appreciate that. By the way, we are live on Clapper, TikTok, YouTube horizontal, YouTube vertical. For my YouTube viewers, if you want to be a call-in, you want to be the audio segment of the program, come on over to TikTok or Clapper, the handsome liver. We'll bring you right up. Doesn't matter what your opinion is. Doesn't matter how you feel. Or even if you want to be critical of the host. We'll certainly bring you up. We're all about free speech here. So looking in the comments, MAGA only cares about Trump. They don't care about the U.S., says Love to Cruz. Well, MAGA's suggesting that they're patriots, and it's the liberals that hate the country. Sounds like you believe it's the opposite. Going back to the box real quick, face it, Trump has destroyed the left. The mainstream media. Now he's taking away their liberal handouts. I've gained 40 pounds in the last 5 months, enjoying it, eating popcorn. Wow. So Trump is sticking it to the liberals. I don't think there's any denying of that. And here's a viewer there, Will Sin, who is making it clear he's enjoying it. Fair enough, Will. Appreciate the input. Going back to the box, and I did want to thank Real Talk. Appreciate that support. Those galaxies. Shout out to you. Thank you for supporting the program. Going back to the box, Kathy Falcon. Good evening. Welcome to the show, Kathy. Now, Trump is saying there's no classified information in regards to this Signal app. Do you believe him, Kathy?
No. Why would I believe that?
He's the president.
There's proof and the only thing, I'm going to tell you this. For me, the only thing that would make me happy is Trump got to go. That is just the hugest mistake. And what the Dems are going to have to do is we're going to have to ride it out for the next 4 years. There's just no way around that. We're going to have to ride it out. Suck it up, ride it out, and
you're saying that
that's the last time he will ever be in that office.
You're saying that Trump has to go. Do you think Biden did a better job? Would you favor Kamala Harris? You think she would have did a better job than Trump?
I did favor Kamala Harris. I did vote for Kamala Harris. Hands down. On paper, she's bar none on paper.
I'm being told by my beloved MAGA side of the aisle that Kamala Harris was a DEI hire. She didn't earn it. She had no business being there. That's what I hear from the right. What say you?
What say me? That's bullshit, is what says me. Can I say bullshit? I'm sorry if I can't.
Listen, this is free speech, baby.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
All right.
So
she was the most qualified ever. If you want DEI, there you go. She was the most qualified, regardless of race, color, creed, religion. She was still the most qualified. Is that what they're not looking for? Is that what the American people are not looking for?
They look at it.
On paper, she was excellent.
Well, they're going to.
What does Trump have? Trump has been, okay, I'm going to tell you this right now. Something about me, and everybody knows that knows me. I've never liked the man since the 80s. You would be.
You would be, if you said you never liked him since the 80s, you would be what they're referring to someone who has Trump derangement syndrome. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I heard about it. If that's going to be a thing, well, then maybe I got it. Because I've never liked the man. Never have I liked the man.
Why?
Because of his character. I have 4 daughters. I would never, ever want my daughters around that man.
But Trump clearly stated he was going to.
Okay, this is why I feel this way. I've been a nurse for 31 years. I've been a nurse in the medical field for 31 years. I've seen, and I've taken care of a lot of different kind of people. All colors, of all backgrounds. They have been in my hands 12-hour shifts.
What has Trump done bad for women, though? Why are you bringing up like Trump is not good for women or something?
Okay, for me, what makes a human being is our character. The kind of people we are. The kind of people that we present to the world. It's your character that counts. He is so unethical and so immoral. He is that drunk at the party.
Damn.
That is loud and obnoxious and you wish he would just shut the fuck up. He's that. That is how I think of Trump. And I have thought about him like that since the 80s. So it doesn't matter that he's president and I just don't like him because he's president. No, that has nothing to do with it. I base that man and I base all people on their character, on their morals, on their values. I have to. I am a nurse. That's how I have to live and do my job. I'm going to take care of you the same way I'm going to take care of the next person. I take care of 6 people a day. Their hands are in my life, six of them a day, plus their families, plus the doctors.
But you make it sound like Trump is not protecting women, though.
No, he never has. Grab him by the pussy. You can grab him by the pussy. It's the thing about it is he actually said it. He actually said it.
Well, he
And
said
he said it because he's done it.
Okay, well, I want you to hear something else that Trump said. I want to get
Yeah.
your opinion on this. Listen to this clip.
People told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. I said, why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said,
Listen to this.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
Whether you like it or not, you're getting protection from Trump.
No, fuck off. What protection? He's gonna take my Social Security that I have worked for since I was 16 fucking years old. I have worked and put into the Social Security system. And by the time I get to be able to retire as a nurse, honestly, we don't usually retire. We die on the floor. Walk into the nurse's station. That's probably how I'll go because I'll always have to work. I'll have to work until minimum 67. This body will have to keep going. And this body has been doing 12 and 16-hour shifts for the last 31 years. But I'm going to be 60 years old this year. I got 7 years that I got to continue to make this body work.
Trump claims
under any circumstances.
But he has openly stated they have no intentions of taking away Social Security.
Oh, bullshit. He's going to make it harder. That other dude, I don't remember who he was, but that in a nice fucking Armani suit, it's probably what it was, like $1,000 suit, asshole. Saying, oh, if my mother-in-law, it can go, wouldn't get her check for a month. Okay. She wouldn't complain. Well, why in the fuck would that mother-in-law complain? She don't need the money.
Yeah.
The dude is fucking billionaire. Why is she taking the Social Security check in the first place? She don't need it.
No.
But they still take it anyway. That's why they have what they have, because they're greedy ass people. And they're going to take it away regardless, and they don't give a fuck about the next person in line if they get it or not. I worked for 31 years. My mother was a nurse for 50 years. She's 81 years old. She's 81 years old.
How do you
on Social Security, and her only money is Social Security. She gets a little fucking $2,100 check.
But what about the adverse? Like Dylan M in the comments says, Trump is not going to tax Social Security. You should actually be thanking him.
Oh, tax. I'm going to tell you that she's 81 years old. She worked for 50 years as a nurse, serving her community. She was the first one to bring the McGruff to the kids in the school. Stranger danger, all that thing with McGruff. My mother was the first one to introduce it here in Corpus Christi, Texas, in Oasis County. I go back from a long line, from a super, super long line of serving your community. In COVID, I work on the biggest floor in one of the biggest hospitals on the 7th floor, which is one of the busiest floors in freaking 5 counties. Okay? And I can't leave there. Because we consider it the county hospital. We have all the homeless that live around there that come into the ER. No Medicaid, no Medicare, no insurance at all. And we cannot turn them away.
Okay.
We cannot turn them away.
What are you saying?
They're sick.
What are you saying? Trump is going to stop this or something?
Well, if the only way the hospital is going to get paid for it, and they're going to have to take it at a loss at the end of the year if they can't help that person qualify for Medicaid or Medicare. We have to get them. They come in homeless off the street, and believe me, we've had to send people back to the street.
Illegal aliens, or are these American? Are these American citizens or undocumented aliens? Illegal aliens? Are these American citizens?
We've taken care of those too. We've taken care of those too. We've taken care of the people that they get from the jail, from either the federal, the state, or the county. That money.
So do you give Trump? I gotta move it on, but do you give Trump credit for getting some of these aliens out of the country so it would free up resources for regular Americans?
No, because they're all regular Americans. I'm not taking care of illegal immigrants.
You just said
they don't dare come to the hospital. They just stay sick.
Oh.
They just say every once in a blue moon that I take care of an illegal immigrant. Every once, and then the last one I took care of him, I loaded him up because they were going to put him on the bus to go back down. And I loaded him up. I went and opened the refrigerator in our break room, and I started taking out all the food, everything that he could carry, and put it in a pillowcase. And I gave it to him. I gave him everything. I gave him some. We had socks. I have a little.
I'm surprised you didn't have 10. I'm surprised you didn't have 10 more of them back the next day. I gotta move it on, though, Kathy.
You know the ones that are homeless? You want me to tell you the ones that are homeless are the white people. You know how many men, white men, old men from vets? They're the veterans that are living homeless on the street right now. That the only way they can get any kind of care or something. We have repeaters. We call them repeaters. Repeat.
But they're the ones that everybody wants you to help.
And they're veterans.
Yeah, them the ones that everybody wants you to help, the veterans. But Kathy, is this our first time talking?
Yeah, it is.
Appreciate you coming through.
It's the first time I've ever done this before. But y'all were talking and talking. It's like, dang, I know what I wanted to say. I've been feeling like this, oh my God, ever since that fool got into office. Sweet Jesus. We're gonna have to suck it up. I'm sorry, the country that damns everybody, and all these Republicans that are going out, they don't want to.
Yeah, you gotta. I do gotta move it on, but you gotta get a guy a chance.
I'm sorry.
You gotta give him a chance, Kathy. 3 years, we'll talk. Come back anytime. Don't be a stranger. Come back anytime.
He had 4 already. He already had 4. Bullshit.
And a lot of people like what he did the first 4. I'm just being honest with you. That's why he got back in. I gotta go. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anytime. Didn't mean to clip you, but thank you, Kathy. Come on back through anytime. Real quick in the comments, Miron, thank you for the support. Says just showing support to the show. Thanks, Tim. P.S. The Trump administration is a joke. XF should resign. There are a lot of people calling for Hegseth to resign. By way of yes or no in the comments, do you believe what happened with the signal leak alone is enough to get rid of Hegseth? Do you believe that one incursion alone is enough that Hegseth should be gone? Now, I know a lot of you folks did not have any love for Hegseth before this happened. But we're talking just judging on this event by itself. Let's say you really did like Hegseth. Let's say you thought he was highly qualified, but he had this one fuck up on his record. Would that be enough for you to suggest he should resign? That's what we're talking about. Looking at somebody in the comments, Jay Pistol says it wasn't Hegseth though. No, but it's his organization, Department of Defense, information leaking. It's going to go up to the top. You're not going to get the blame. That's one of the benefits of President Trump. Things can happen below him, and he blames the people below him, and he does not get faulted for it. But fact is, if it happens in your administration, you're supposed to be held responsible for it. Because if Hegseth or Gabbard or anybody else in his administration does something that's stellar, does something that's impressive, guess who gets all the credit? Guess who's going to be on television taking all the credit for it? Trump. So if they fuck up, you don't get blamed for that. Just think about how that works. When the mission goes well, Trump is on television taking credit for ordering the mission and the success of it. So if it goes wrong, how does he get absolved of credit and only one of the lower people get blamed for it? But he has been very successful in navigating the waters in that manner. Looking in the comments, the other guy admitted fault. It doesn't matter who admitted fault. It's your administration That guy wouldn't be there if it wasn't for your administration. That's how you think that Obama, when Fast and Furious was a scandal, you think that Obama was the one that gave the weapons that killed the Border Patrol officers? Remember Benghazi? You think that Hillary Clinton herself personally was in? No, you're going to get blamed because you're part of the administration. So I don't know how Trump gets different treatment on that. He can just claim ignorance and boom, he gets to escape it. Look it in the comments. If I screw up, I get fired, not my boss. Actually, that may not be true, Patty. Depends on how much you screw up. It depends on what you do. You are capable of screwing up so badly that your boss feels the wrath of it too. Depends on how bad you screw up. Depends on what you do. So, I mean, plenty of managers have been fired for something their employees got away with. Because if you're managing properly, this shouldn't have happened. So yeah, your boss can get fired for something you do as well. Looking in the comments, how many superior police officers have been fired because of what a cop on the force did under them? I mean, your boss, you can certainly get your boss fired depending on what you do. There are plenty of high-ranking military personnel that have had to take a demotion or step down because somebody under them fucked up. Happens all the time. I don't know why you would believe that can't happen. Real quick, looking in the comments, Elon is so happy. You know I was going to say that. Somebody said Elon Musk is so happy. There was a Jennifer A. Elon Musk is so happy the focus is off of him. You know, I was going to say that yesterday when I came on live. Finally, a day when we're not talking about Elon Musk. You are absolutely right, though. Going back to the box, tap the screen. We should be around 40,000. We can certainly make that happen if you show the program some love. By the way, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, you are in the right place. I would invite you to follow the program if you're watching on TikTok or if you're watching on Clapper, and if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to drop a subscription. We're here Monday through Friday generally. Free speech, MAGA friendly, always, every day. Look at in the comments, DEI head self lied about there not being any classified information in the leaked text. Fired. So you want them gone. Wow, you want them gone. Let Trump do his job and look at America in 3 years. You know, that's kind of the sentiment, give them a chance. But, if people are getting fucked over before the 3 years expire, they're not going to remain quiet. I mean, you got to think tens of thousands of federal employees have been fired. They're not going to sit back and say nothing. I mean, people believe that getting rid of the Board of Education may be harmful to the education of children in this country. They're not going to sit back and wait and see how the sausage is made. They're going to cry out about that. I mean, he's making some big changes. Talking about getting rid of NATO, the lack of assistance to the Ukraine, being favorable to Russia. I mean, he's doing things that are completely against the tradition of America. They're not going to wait 3 years to see how that turns out. You're imposing 25% tariff here. It's 50% tomorrow. You're threatening 200% over there. People aren't going to sit back and wait 3 years and see if it turns out well if they're suffering in the interim. So I understand what you're saying, but they're not going to do that if they're suffering today. They're not going to hope for better tomorrows. There's too many people getting paid to do TT very little. The Blue Baron, I don't listen. When it comes to, I'll go to the box after this, but when it comes to Elon Musk and all these federal firings suggesting that too many people are getting paid, they're not showing up to work, they're not doing their job or whatever. This will look a lot better if you weren't firing people and rehiring them back. This will look a lot better if you went in with a scalpel. You had people do analysis and determine who should be fired and who not. When you go into an organization and just fire 50% of the workforce, and you came to that conclusion within a week, there's a good chance you're firing people that don't deserve to be fired. So if he did it more tactfully, I think more people would agree with what you're saying. But going back to the box, sort of my subscribers there, Stick the Ruler. Good evening, Stick. This is Kamala's fault too. What part is Kamala's fault though? We're talking about the Signal leak. You're telling me the perceived leak of information via the Signal app is somehow Kamala Harris's fault? Stick, good evening.
Negative. She don't have nothing to do with it.
A former vice president.
Yo, so check it out, Tim.
Okay.
This is what it's been, and this what it's always been. This is part of his agenda, whether it's Agenda 47 or Project 2025. It all coincides. It's got the same people, working on it, the Heritage Foundation and anybody else that's a part of it. So he said he wasn't racist, but as soon as he get in, and a little bit before he got in, he had affirmative action got rid of.
Yeah, but what has he done for you to indicate he might be racist, though?
Getting rid of okay, so check it out. Orange is the new black, right?
Shout out to Ice Cube.
No.
That's
Orange
the song.
is the new black. Yeah. That's that. All that means is you go to jail, you're black, right?
Okay.
You're a felon, whatever the case may be. So that's why Trump tried to gravitate to, man, I got charges, I got a mugshot.
Oh,
see, I'm like, y'all. So that's the orange, and he's the new black. And guess what?
He's not being accepted by black people, though.
What they're doing, Tim, is they're doing some Costa Nostra type shit. Everybody's shutting the hell up, not saying anything against Trump, not saying anything against themselves. They don't have to plead the fifth. They just deflect or say, oh, okay, nothing in this was classified.
Right.
So now they got the dude saying, okay, you just said nothing was classified, so I can go on and put it out there then.
That's what he's, something, and I said that on yesterday's live, if they're going to stand up and say that there's nothing classified and try to bash Goldberg for saying it was, he should have done exactly what you just said. Well, if there's nothing classified as of tomorrow, I'm going to hold a press conference and release all I got. After all, there's nothing classified in here. They would have been scurrying and running all over the place like mice trying to stop him.
And again, this is one of those situations where they didn't think, okay, so if Biden would have had that information, Biden wouldn't put it out, right? If Biden would have had that information, he wouldn't have put it out.
I can't speculate on that. Biden had classified documents in his crib, too.
I'm going to tell you why. Because they told Biden, basically, he has full immunity as president and performing, presidential acts. So if he would have did what Trump is trying to do now, which is get rid of political enemies, we wouldn't be having this problem right now.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, though, one thing that Trump has, and so does Hegseth, by the way, they can unclassify shit. So if Hegseth says whatever's in there is no longer classified, it's no longer classified.
Okay, so check this out then. You shouldn't have had it on the damn server. Just like you got in Hillary Clinton ass about having all these emails and this, that, and the third. It's the same thing. The only difference between her and him is he's a white man on Trump's team. Them two things right there is the only difference. So everybody's going to give a blind eye. Everybody's going to say, oh, nothing was classified. Hey, the strike went off without a hitch. Nobody found out about it. Let's move on.
So you believe that the only thing, and I see in the comments, Spiker says you're 100% correct. So you're saying that if Trump was, let's say, a Puerto Rican man or a Mexican man doing the same thing, they would have held him accountable.
You damn right. If it would have been Hillary Clinton, she would have been held accountable in the sense of this is actual evidence. They told us that they had emails and it was this and she talked about, but she never got charged with anything, right? And it's not because she didn't get charged because they covered it up. She didn't get charged because there was no proof of she did anything malice or against the law, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. The reason why I'm hesitating over here because you're basically saying that Trump is a beneficiary of white privilege, basically.
Yeah. Not only that, it's more of
male
white
privilege
along with loyalty. Okay. See, they got everything that you can think of, nepotism. They got all of that going on.
Wait, hold on. No, wait, God, I want to run it because I'm just shocked at the comment I read while you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
Gen X says, of course, this is about race as always because Hillary Clinton was as black as a skillet. What the fuck is that? What is he saying?
I I have no clue. Maybe because she had the hot sauce in the purse too.
Okay,
I don't know. But see, and that be the thing. Like you have those wild ass comments that don't really mount to a hill of beans. You're confused. You don't even know what it means.
I've never heard somebody. Yeah, I've never heard somebody refer to Hillary Clinton as black as a skillet.
As black as a skillet, exactly. so the whole thing of it is, Tim, it's just one of those situations where if common sense isn't so common, but it is in everybody that voted for their best interest. The people that didn't vote for their best interest are the people who have the president that they have. It's more of them than it is of us.
Yeah, but is this something? I mean, are we? Is there a possibility of liberal hypocrisy here, suggesting that Trump's getting away with things? And the reason I'm asking you that is, in the comments, Ramrod says, if Stick, he's referring to you, Stick. In case you forgot, the FBI was covering up for Hillary and Biden too. So he's suggesting that you can't say that Trump's getting all this beneficiary shit going on when the left was doing it for Hillary Clinton and Biden as well.
All I'm gonna say is Trump been getting the privilege.
Yeah.
Before president, he was getting the privilege.
Yeah, that's no
It got worse. It got worse the first time. Now it's even worse because he has a whole bunch of cronies around him that fear his wrath, that don't want no problems with their constituents, but at the same time, they have a problem because every town hall gets off the chain on the Republican side. They're bitching, they're moaning, they're crying, they're wondering why the Democrats ain't out, why they're not protesting. They're normally they're the liberals. They're the one that get out there and protest.
Yeah. Well, and the liberals are not speaking up very well. But real quick, another comment, because I want to bring this up, because under Trump, everybody says that finally we have a president that we're respected as opposed to being a laughingstock under Biden. But Andre Gary in the comments says, we elected a reality TV star twice. What does that say about our nation? If they were not laughing at us before, do you see what he is saying? Because the right says we're respected. Andre saying that they're laughing at us. I mean, where do you see us? Go ahead.
Well, this is the thing. Trump and his cabinet, they try to spin things and make it sound all good and in our favor. When actuality, we get the real news. We don't just stick to ABC, ESPN, and God doggone CNN and all of these other stations. We are global now. We have the internet.
Right.
We can see other news stations. And what we have learned is Denmark, number one, ain't with it, and neither is Greenland.
They're trying to spin Greenland, because there's a few. I'm watching a video today of this guy who went over to Greenland and interviewed a bunch of them. And you did have a couple of kids talking about, yeah, we want America because they'll bring McDonald's here. But for the most part, you're correct. Most Greenlanders, when interviewed, are like they don't want nothing to do with the U.S. taking over their country.
What you got to think about is this. In Greenland, if they don't leave the laws as they are and they come and they try to put the Constitution and anything else on the laws, it's gonna be they're gonna be white citizens, white tea, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, they're not gonna be equal. They're gonna be like the Irish in the early 1800s and in the early 1900s.
So they're going to be less than equal in their own country?
Yeah, you damn right. I mean, look at every dynasty. What do? They go over, they say, I want to be your friend. Then once they friend them, then they say, okay, you pissed me off, so now I ain't going to mess with you. And they let their enemy fuck with them. And then what does that do? They say, well, hold on, please save us. And then we go over there, we do what we do, and then guess what? Now we're in control.
Yeah.
That's the thing that Putin got going on with Ukraine. That's the thing that Gaza has going on with Israel. That's the thing that is going on in the African nations. That's why we're everywhere to control the situation.
Yeah, I don't see any way Greenlanders are okay with America taking over that country voluntarily, because of Trump's general demeanor, how he's talked to Canada, how he's talked to Panama, what he's planned in regards to Gaza, his demeanor on the world stage is clearly like a bully. I mean, he's working with Netanyahu, who's very unpopular right now. talking about dissolving NATO. I cannot imagine Greenlanders seeing all of that and saying, "Yeah, that's the guy we want to be with." Now, if it was, I mean, I don't want to bring Obama or somebody into it, but if it was a president that was more unifying, that seemed like he was bringing good times and happiness with them, maybe. But right now, to Europe, Trump is looking more like Scar in The Lion King. Like, if he takes over the kingdom, I can't imagine that.
What's the date today, Tim?
The 20, shit, I don't even know. 26.
The 24th? 26. Okay. Today's the 26th day. Yeah. Today you talked to Stick the Ruler, and Stick the Ruler told you what's next for Greenland if they don't play games. I mean, if they don't play ball.
They don't play ball.
Sorry, not play games.
Yeah.
They're gonna get tariffed.
How much business do they do a lot of business with America?
I don't even know. I don't even know, Tim. But for whatever reason, Trump wants it. It's something there that he wants,
I think they got lithium. I think they got lithium. There's something under that permafrost, and now it's melting due to climate change. I think it's lithium or something. They got some resource up there that we want, or uranium or something.
So again, Tim, the plan is this: Putin, he gets Russia and all the Russian used to be states plus Europe. You got Xi. He'll get just Asia. He'll just control that part of Asia that ain't part of Russia. Then you got whoever you want to pick in the Middle East, whether it be Iran or somebody, they'll control the whole Middle East. And then Trump, he wants North America as a whole, Central America as a whole, and South America as a whole. And if we don't say something, if we don't do something, and I ain't talking about going out and protesting. I'm talking about the Democrats that have power, that are up there in Congress and Senate and the House. They need to get this man a check. Like, for real. Like, hit him in the head or something. Hey, what you doing? Like a damn uncle. You know how your uncle see you do something and he slap you in the back of your damn head? Yeah, he needs that.
Well, the problem is, in my opinion, maybe they need to start making, behind-the-scenes phone calls to Republicans in Congress and Republicans in Senate, hold a meeting like, you guys know all of this ain't right. Come on now. I mean, because if whatever we do in terms of being historic, you guys gonna be judged in concert with this. So you're not gonna get Trump to change his mind.
My thing is this: if everybody remembers, they showed you on the map who voted for Trump. Middle America, from Texas on up, right? And basically anything, what would that be? East of California, right? And the South. That's who.
Basically, all the Middle America, with the exception of the coast and maybe some Midwestern areas.
So, with that being said, those are all the people that are crying at the town halls. Those are all the people. Yeah. Nebraska farmers. What's up with that?
Yeah.
What's going on?
But they getting hit with
mad?
I think they're getting hit with a triple whammy. First of all, their immigrants are gone. They're cutting farming subsidies. So I think there's a third thing too, but they're getting hit from the tariffs. The tariffs are also so they're getting hit with agricultural tariffs. They're getting hit with farming subsidies, federal farming subsidies being cut. And then they're getting hit with the fact that a lot of their workers are being deported. So they're getting hit from three different directions. The farmers are.
And that's what I'm saying. But it's just probably me and you that's gonna talk about this. MAGA, that's their people too. But I'm more knowledgeable to know what the Republicans and or conservatives and or MAGA is going through. But none of them are complaining about that, unless it's at a town hall. Now, maybe at a town hall, if they have one in Nebraska, we probably see something.
Them just liberals that were paid to be there. I got to move it on, Stick. But that's what they said. Them are just paid protesters.
Hey, Tim, let me say this. I'm not a liberal, and I would prefer to be called a Democrat, but I'm maybe not even a Democrat. But what I will tell you is this. We ain't hurting. That's why we ain't making a whole bunch of fuss. Remember, we're more educated, so we make more money.
All right, let's see.
We have those positions. We ain't tripping, but y'all are.
Let's see how it goes. Stick, appreciate you coming through.
Have a good one.
You too, as always.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Florida
moving
State
on.
University.
Moving on with the program. Thank you, Stick. Tap the screen. We should be around 50,000. We can make 50,000 happen. Fit it. FIDDY. Fit it, thou. THOU. About a minute of tapping the screen. Get your boy on up to 50. Make that happen. There's enough of you folks in here that if you tap the screen, we can get the likes up to about 50,000. Helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. We always, MAGA's been my preferred guest from the early days, but understandably, right now that Trump is president, and we're often critical of some of the policies because he's a controversial individual, MAGA don't like that. So I've lost MAGA and gained liberals, but in the early days, most of my audience leaned right. Wow, real talk. Wow, you've been kind. Thank you, real talk. Them galaxies. Shout out to you. Appreciate the support. But yeah, we certainly are. We certainly are all about free speech. We we believe in letting the people speak. Let me just say it that way. Thank you for that hat and mustache there. I don't know what that symbol means, but to appreciate that. It doesn't have a name for you, but thank you for your support. Trump is doing amazing, says Snowbird. I'd say the jury is still out. And listen, I know I speak, I lean left socially, but I don't believe everything Trump does is bad. I damn sure don't believe everything he does is good. I'm not going to, and I have no reason on earth. Didn't count. Shout out to you. Thank you. I have no reason on earth to suggest that Trump, what he's doing right now is amazing. Because a lot of things that Trump has done, you won't know the benefit of it until some time has passed. Right now, the tariffs are not amazing. I mean, even Trump has admitted there's going to be some temporary suffering. You don't yell out things are amazing while you're in a suffering period. So I don't know where, listen, Trump is sticking it to the liberals. If you hate the fucking liberals, yeah, he's amazing. He's curbed the LGBTQ process, all of that shit, boys and girls teams and bathrooms. He's gotten rid of that community. What else has he done in regards? I mean, he's sticking it to the liberals all over the place. So if the borders literally shut down completely. I don't know if that affects your life personally, but for the most part, he's sticking it to the liberals on liberal issues. If that alone, DEI, you guys want to bring that up, you want to bring up CRT in schools and all of that stuff. Once again, I don't know how that affects you personally, but if you like sticking it to the liberals, got rid of Black Lives Matter Plaza in DC, he's renamed bases back at the Confederate last names. If all of that, sticking it to the liberal stuff is what you favor, then yeah, he's amazing. But in terms of what has he done to affect your life, to make your life better, the jury's still out on it. Right now, most Americans are not positively affected by anything Trump has done just yet. Even the billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. None of it has went to you. So when you say he's done an amazing job, there's no way to know right now. There's no way to say he has not done a good job, but there's no way to say he has because it hasn't affected your life yet. Nothing Elon Musk has done has affected your life. In fact, the few people that have been affected by what Elon Musk has done it's been negative. People lost their jobs and shit like that. There's nobody jumping up and down and bragging about how much better their life is now that Elon Musk saved a bunch of money. No Americans gotten that yet. The no tax on tips and overtime, no Americans gotten that yet. So amazing is way too soon to be giving Trump that grade. Way too soon. Looking in the comments, what has he done for the everyday Americans except lose their jobs, says Joseph? Well, and that's what I'm saying. There's a possibility what Trump has done may greatly benefit everyday average Americans. But it's not yet. We're not there yet to be giving him an amazing grade. Sometimes I've asked folks to give Trump a letter grade and people give him an A+. There's no way he should be, an A+ means you can't do any better. There's no way he should be getting such a high grade right now. Just like I wouldn't say he should get an F either. He would probably be in the middle somewhere, but an A+, there's no way in hell he should be getting that grade right now. This is Andre Gary says, no country is going to volunteer being taken over or occupied. Somebody, true argument here is, why don't we do what those countries that have no issue, no desire to come to the U.S.? Yeah, I agree that no country is going to volunteer to be taken over. The folks in Greenland, that's a pretty free country. Maybe if he could go and tell that to the North Koreans, maybe some of them would be okay with a different leadership, structure than Kim Jong-un, but they're pretty free in Greenland. And our stories of kids going to school and getting shot, and the amount of folks that are homeless in America. I got a guy that calls in regularly from Greenland on the program. He said homeless in Greenland is illegal, obviously, because it's really cold outside. Homelessness in Greenland is illegal. It ain't illegal anywhere in America. Homeless people freeze to death in our country every day. Why the hell do they want that? Why would you want a country that has social programs? Why the hell would you want to be taken over by America, a country that is basically against just about every social program? So if you fall on your ass, there's no cushion to protect you. Why would Greenland want that? So I don't see any upside for Greenland joining America. There's no upside. Nobody's trying to attack Greenland other than America. So you can't shout out, well, if they join America, they got military protection. Nobody's fucking with us but you. We were fine until you came along. So, it's like the mob boss. I want 10% of your proceeds. I would hate for something to happen to your shop. My shop was fine until you came in here. So I don't see it. Let me go back to the box, though. Cal, good evening. Welcome to the show. We letting this guy isolate us. We are losing business with countries looking to buy elsewhere. That is true, Sandman. And there's no way to spin that. That is true. Trump is operating as a nationalist, which is what he claimed to be. He is isolating the United States. I don't think there's any denial of that. Cal, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, so what do you think? You think this whole signal thing is a bunch of something over nothing? Trump is claiming there was no classified information released. It's no big deal. The liberals are just using this as another witch hunt. What say you?
Okay, I'll give you a quick example of what was in there, because a lot of people haven't seen what was actually in those emails. They just seen the first ones. But today, you've seen the ones he released today?
No.
Okay, Greenberg, he released it today. 12:15, F-18s launch, first strike. 13:45, trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. Target terrorists and his known locations, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch. 14:10, more F-18s launch, second strike package. This is before the attack happened. He's literally minute by minute explaining on this thread what they're going to do. And I refuse to argue with anybody that's dumb enough to believe that is not top secret national security information. Yeah. I'm not going to argue with nobody. They can say what they want to. When you are this is the same stuff when they attacked bin Laden, that they were all sitting in the situation room.
Right.
That's where you're supposed to be at if you're going to have a conversation about this stuff. Not sending out heart emojis and strong arm emojis and talking about how great everybody. No.
I saw the emojis. That's funny how you added that in there, though. Yeah, you had the American flag, the pow fist. So what do you think? Mike said something similar to you earlier. What do you think? I mean, do you believe this alone is enough to suggest that Pete Hegseth and Gabbard and all them should actually resign?
Look, I know it's not going to happen, but in the real world, the way it's supposed to happen is everybody on that thread should be fired or removed from their positions because none of them did their due diligence. None of them looked at who was on the thread. How the hell you going to be on the thread with 17, 18 people? You don't know who the hell is on the thread.
I don't get that, because when you're on Zoom calls, when you're on calls like that, when a person, it tells you this person is joining the chat or whatever. I mean, there's a number showing you how many people are here. So you're like, it's just us 10. It's just the 10 of us, right? Why the hell is it saying 11? who's that Goldberg guy? Nobody noticed that.
Exactly. And the top people, we talking about the top people in the military. We talking about Tulsi Gabbard. She's the DNI. She's in charge of national security. And they asking her, and she talking about, from what I understand, they said it was no top secret information. You fucking lying.
She didn't even want to admit when they said her name on the chat was TG. She didn't even want to admit that was her. She tried to first.
Right. Talking about as far as I understand, you are supposed to be the subject matter expert on security.
Yeah,
what
that's
do you
right.
mean? Somebody told you, they told me that nothing was top secret on there. So you mean your DEI ass is sitting up there and don't know your fucking job?
Are you suggesting that Tulsi Gabbard is a DEI appointed?
You're damn right. You're damn right. She's the perfect example of what DEI. Pete Hegseth, all of them sitting up there looking stupid, talking about, well, it wasn't nothing big, and they were the whole reason why he released all of this shit today was because he said, they told me it wasn't top secret, so I'll let the people decide.
Yeah, and this is why I often say the Trump administration sometimes will tell a lie when the truth should be sufficient. Trump should have just came out and said, look, some heads need to roll behind this. Give us a little time to look into it. By lying and pretending like nothing happened and going after Goldberg, which is what you're pointing out, the guy who leaked the information, by constantly attacking him, you kind of called his hand and forced him to become a hostile, respondent because you're attacking him. You know what this guy is saying is true, even if you don't want to admit it in public. You don't want to admit it in public circles. You guys know behind closed doors what he's saying is true because he was on there. So
and imagine the people whose job it was because they contacted him before he released all of this stuff. Imagine because they have to toe the line between people saying it wasn't top secret, and the administration, but they talked to him and he said it was a couple of things in there that he himself thought was so top secret that he redacted himself.
What they should have did, if Trump is a businessman. Trump is like the master deal maker. This is where he needed a Michael Cohen or some damn body. You call up Goldberg. What do we need to do to make this go away? What do we need to say in your favor or in regards to your media? What do we need to do to make this go away? Perhaps maybe you thought you saw something that you didn't see or something like that, a retractor. Why would you attack the guy when you know he got real shit on you? I just don't understand that.
Because look, when you believe that you are a king and everything that you've done to this point, nobody has been able to stand in the way. I mean, this is the guy who started his career on network TV by firing people. What did he say after Afghanistan? Everybody involved in that should be fired. If I was in there, I'd fire these people.
Yeah. So what about, being Classen in the comments, being Classen says, and this is in caps, attacking Trump, you are messing with fire. Now, he is correct about that. In regards to this Goldberg guy, do you see any potential retaliation? I mean, he's receiving death threats already. So is the judge. I talked about him, Judge, what the hell is that guy's name? James Bozeman, in regards to that whole... Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think this guy may face some serious retaliation, this Goldberg guy?
I don't know, man. I think I if you would have asked me this 6 months, a year ago, I would have said yes. But this whole MAGA thing and everybody being afraid of them, it's just getting old and tired, man. They not doing nothing. They running around acting like they won something. They criticizing people. They calling them on the phone. They writing dirty emails and stuff. But I mean, if somebody touches that guy, this shit is going to be, you think it's bad now. If somebody with any ties to MAGA or any of that shit put hands on them, it's gonna be a problem. It's already
you really think
a problem.
America would rise up and riot if something happened to Goldberg?
Well, no, I ain't talking like that. I'm just saying as far as the judge the politics of all of this stuff would fucking explode?
I don't know. I don't know, Den Cal. I've seen so much that should have exploded that didn't. I'm not for sure anymore. I think Trump can pretty much do what he wanted to.
He was also involved in all of the Russia stuff.
Anytime you got the Speaker of the House talking about we can potentially get rid of the federal court system, and there's no explosion behind that, what else is left? I mean, if Trump,
I see you did check it out, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like, goddamn, what else? What else is there? You gonna get rid of all of the courts that could possibly hold? I mean, because that's the last. That literally is the last line of defense for the Trump administration, is because we know Congress is not really going after them or threatening them anyway. So the courts are constantly ruling against him. You get rid of the courts, and he pretty much is home free. And he's talking about doing it, and nobody is outraged.
This is the time to do it, because guess who got the court case of the people that sued about this leak?
That's what I was talking about. Judge James Boasberg, the one that ruled against him on the whole Enemy Aliens Act from the 1700s. And by the way, if I'm correct, right before I went on air, because Trump tried to appeal that ruling, Boasberg prevented him from sending folks down to El Salvador without due process. And Trump took it to the appeals court. If I'm correct, the appeals court just ruled against Trump today. So Boasberg order stands. Now you're correct in saying Boasberg is now dealing with a second lawsuit against Trump, suggesting this is the whole federal, what is it called? The Federal Records Act, by violating, by sending confidential information over the Signal app. They violated the Federal Records Act, so they're suing Trump again, and Boasberg got the case.
Hey, but I bet not hear nothing from no dang old MAGA about it being a setup, because when we said that same shit about old girl down there in Florida who got Trump's case, the one who dismissed the case, what's her name?
Yeah, I don't know. I know you're talking about down in Miami. I don't know what her name is. She was a Trump appointee.
Yeah. They was like, they do a lottery, and she ended up with his case, even though she had already had his earlier case, Eileen Cannon.
Yeah.
And she had found that he had did some stuff wrong. So this is how the system works. So I guess I can understand how that happened with her.
But I'm gonna ask you the same thing I asked. I think it was Mike or one of the callers yesterday. With so many cases against Trump, do you think there is a potential that he may go nuclear on the federal courts and at least defund them or do something to reduce their power? Like what the speaker was talking about, we can get rid of the courts. We can at least take away all their funding to make it so, just like what he's doing with the Department of Education. He cannot officially get rid of them. That's Congress's job, but he can take all the money away so that they're ineffective. Do you see a possibility of doing that to the courts?
No. I do believe that that's a bridge too far. I believe he's in a good position because he's got the Supreme Court to agree with most of what he says. But if the courts don't stand up and say that that's against the law, then they're degrading it. Like, who would listen to the court after that? Like, nobody would. Like, we wouldn't have our three branches of government anymore if they just said, okay,
they don't have to worry about the American population not listening to the courts when they don't even give your ass due process. You're gonna listen to us. I mean, you don't have due process. You're not gonna fuck with the Trump administration. If they get rid of the courts and they start taking away due process like they did the immigrants, people gonna fall in line real quick, because now you can make people disappear.
You just said that the appellate court said no,
right.
You can't deport these people. So, I mean, there's still strings of the government. But in order to get rid of the courts, that means Congress would have to get involved. Congress would have to get involved, because at that point, if they move the money, then they could go and they could make a law, a veto-proof law that even the president couldn't overturn. So there's still
until you get a Democratic Congress, I don't see Congress going against Trump really on anything. I mean, hey, listen,
bro, you talking about getting rid of the courts? You think they're gonna all stand up and be like, "Yeah, we down with it"? They know that
Then Cal, I listen. I know it sounds like liberal fear mongering, but if the guy came out and if the Speaker of the House is talking about getting rid of the courts and they not even complaining about it, what would make you think they wouldn't actually follow through with it?
I'm just saying. Maybe I just have a little bit more faith in
maybe
like
you do. Maybe
sometimes
you do.
There's a bridge too far. There's a lot of stuff.
I see more folks on the right that are upset about letting biological males play in women's sports than they are about this guy talking about getting rid of the federal courts. I don't hear nobody on the right. I watch a lot of right-wing media. They ain't saying shit about that. They're more excited about a transgender person walking in the wrong bathroom, the 0.0001% chance that'll happen, than they are about the Speaker of the House talking about getting rid of the federal courts. So I don't know if I see it the way you do.
Hey, I don't know. I think that there are lines that I think we have seen. Even some of the people that are down with Republicans are coming out speaking out about this leak, about this thing. Like they're saying Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, yeah, they fucked up. Like, it's people coming out saying this stuff. So when you talk about getting rid of the courts, I think that's another line to going into authoritarianism or fascism, when you start trying to get rid of one of the three branches of government that dictate how this country is.
I hear what you're saying, but we've seen birthright citizenship, which is in the Constitution. We've seen what else? I mean, we're seeing things.
Yes, but those things are being done under like technicalities. Like maybe the law wasn't written for people other than black people. Like those are technicalities. Yeah. When you talk about defunding the federal judiciary, that's a whole nother animal. That's a whole nother animal.
I really think that if Trump said, we need to get rid of the federal government and revamp it because it's full of, activist judges. You see how many witch hunts? You see that I entitled this program Witch Hunt Number 2. But if you convince a lot of folks that the federal government is just full of crazy lunatic liberals, I think just like the Obamacare, a lot of people use that, but Trump has convinced folks that it is not quite perfect. It needs to be tinkered with, and they're okay with, what does he say, repeal and replace it, which gives him the ability to repeal it and then come up with some excuse for why it wasn't replaced. You can do the same thing with the federal government. I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm trying to repeal and replace it with something better. And then when you take it apart, come up with a reason why you never can put it back together again.
Well, I understand what you're saying. It's definitely a possibility. But I think when you're talking about the third branch, the co-equal part of the government and kind of destroying it, like what do you replace that with? Like those federal judges are all over the country deciding on all of these different issues. The Supreme Court cannot handle.
I want to agree with you, didn't Cal, but I'm watching. They're not replacing all the fired federal workers with anything. They're not going to replace NATO with anything. They didn't replace the Iran deal with anything, NAFTA with anything. What makes you think they're going to do it here?
No, those things will they'll come back. Maybe not the same as they were, but when another administration comes in, remember everything he's doing is on executive order. All of that shit is going to be appealed. Yeah. It's going to go to court. Some of the stuff is getting shot down as we speak. And when anybody else comes in, even if J.D. Vance gets in there, he's going to rescind a lot of this bullshit that Trump is doing.
To me, it just sounds like you're putting your molar in a bag under your pillow and hoping for some money in the morning. I got to move it on. Because I'm not seeing it. Maybe I want to be wrong. I want you to be right. I want to be wrong. But right now, my eyes say something different.
Man, and you was the optimist and I was the pessimist. Now we don't went full circle.
Yeah,
now.
we have.
Every time you were saying, "Oh man, that stuff." No, we gotta give them a chance. We gotta see, man. Now you see the train. You see the train in the tunnel with the light, huh?
I don't even know if the tunnel was even open at the other fucking end at this point. I mean, it might have collapsed. I don't even know if I want to take the train in the tunnel. You may not get out. I gotta move on, then, Cal.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Looking in the cup. I'm serious. Some of this stuff, folks, like I said, it's like putting your molar in the bag under your pillow and hoping for money in the morning. How are you going to indict a system without tangible consequences from outside groups? Because the groups are being held at bay. I think a lot of outside groups don't want the drama of dealing with MAGA, of dealing with Trump. I can see Trump getting away with indicting systems without that tangible consequences you're talking about from outside groups, because they don't want to deal with MAGA is a formidable force. All of a sudden you're getting bomb threats and shit. People, your whole career is gone. I mean, people, you don't want to be like Liz Cheney or Mitt Romney, where you're ostracized from your own community. A lot of people would rather not deal with that. I mean, you see what happened where Trump is saying all kinds of awful shit about Ted Cruz's wife. Gave out Lindsey Graham's personal phone number. Look where they at now. You think those folks actually see Trump as a great guy? No, they don't want to fuck around with MAGA and deal with the drama and lose their careers. They would rather forgive and forget, maintain their sense of power, make some money, and leave it alone. And I don't think that Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz are the only people. Hell, I think there are liberals that would join that side if they felt that their careers and everything was in jeopardy going against Trump. Hell, Fetterman might be a good example of that now. Looking in the comments real quick, though, before I move on. MAGA is a sinking ship. I'm not seeing the ship sinking. I'm not seeing it. I don't see it. To me, MAGA looks like it's made of steel. I don't see it sinking like that. I mean, there's some complaints. There's some turbulent waters, but MAGA seems to be doing all right. Everyone, including myself, has underestimated the power of Trump's longevity, the power of MAGA's longevity. I don't know if it's a sinking ship. I'm not there yet. If I'm willing to call it if I think so. Right now, I just don't see it. I see too many folks supporting no matter what. Like I said, I've asked letter grades on Trump. People giving him an A+. He's been in office for 2 months and people giving him an A+ already. I got people saying Trump should be on the front of Mount Rushmore. I don't see the sinking ship in that. Looking in the comments, the ship ain't sinking. Weird that y'all would say that, considering we just saw how bad the last party failed us. Use y'all's brains. That came from Trey Morgan, and that's what I'm talking about. There's Trey right there telling you the ship ain't sinking. So it's amazing that you would say something like that, considering what we just saw in the last 4 years. He's suggesting that, no, the Biden ship is the one that's at the bottom of the ocean, along with the tugboat known as Kamala. It's down there being covered in seaweed. So, I don't know. Trey is very short for betray. God, you guys are crazy. Let me go ahead and give my spiel that you tap the screen. Let me go ahead and attempt to see if I can get about 70,000 on the likes. This is the point where you spend about a good minute tapping the screen. Get the likes on up to 70,000 so I can take another caller and keep the program moving. One of the clips I wanted to play, we did talk about this earlier, but this is in regards to the attorney. I mean, he's an attorney too, but the judge we're talking about, James Boasberg.
Signed to the legal battle over deportation flights. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg has been pushing back against the use of a wartime act to deport hundreds of Venezuelan migrants. Now it turns out Judge Boasberg has actually been assigned to another high-profile case, this one surrounding the fallout from the signal messages in the Atlantic article, which we've been talking about all day, right? Let's bring in CBS News Department.
Real quick, get used to that face. There's Boasberg on the screen. Get used to that face. You're gonna be seeing and hearing a lot of him, because MAGA's gonna be. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of anti-Boasberg memes and shit floating around. So get used to seeing the face of Boasberg.
From the signal messages in the Atlantic article, which we've been talking about all day, right? Let's bring in CBS News Department of Justice reporter Jake Rosen. Jake, good to see you today. This is quite a twist here. The first time I heard this, I thought, oh my goodness, this poor guy, another case, and he's been getting death threats and a bunch of accusations from the Trump administration. So what was your reaction to this?
And I don't care what his reaction is, but that is the point, that Judge Boasberg is the one that prevented Trump from deporting folks to El Salvador with no due process. Remember just yelling people were a gang member or saying that people were rapists and murderers and violent criminals, saying that they were members of MS-13 and that other gang I can't pronounce, but they don't get a say in court. And a lot of MAGA believes that if Trump says, or if the border security or border patrol, whatever it's called, Homeland Security, if they say somebody is a gang member or say that somebody has committed a crime, that should be all that's necessary. The person should not get a chance to speak out on their behalf. And that's what Trump has been doing. He say it, it goes. Well, Boasberg is against that, ruled against Trump. You can't just send people out without due process. So Trump did appeal his ruling. And if I'm correct, the appeal has failed as of today. But anyway, Boasberg, who ruled against Trump being able to use the Alien Enemies Act, also now is getting the case that confidential information was released over the Signal app. And he's dealing with a lawsuit that was put in by, American something society. It's some group that's suing the Trump administration, suggesting that they violated the Federal Records Act by using confidential information over Signal. This judge has over that case now too. Why is this judge so special? Because Trump has said all kinds of awful shit about him, suggested he should be impeached, called him a radical leftist. I believe he was appointed by George W. Bush, but Trump has suggested that this judge is a radical left lunatic. Obviously, he's getting bomb threats. You heard that in the media. Death threats from MAGA. Well, you ever heard the notion about burning bridges, not knowing if you may need to cross it again? Trump is known for attacking judges, but usually the judge doesn't get an additional case in your future. This judge got a second stab at Trump after Trump did all that shit to him. So we'll see what happens. But my guess is it ain't going to be a good run for Trump in this second case either. It's just not, because Trump did all. In fact, a lot of things that Trump does, when folks talk about Trump as being mistreated or they don't get Trump a chance from day one, understand you or I could never do and say what Trump has done to judges and get away with it. None of us could do that. Get up there and say all the negative shit publicly. I don't care if you were, let's say you were a 2-bit B-rate actor or somebody, or you were a content creator and you got a large following. You're not going to be able to get away with doing and say the things that Trump does. They would get you for that. Trump has said a lot of awful things about judges, gave out their addresses and home addresses, attacked family members of judges. He's gotten really lucky in attacking judges that disagree with him. So we'll see what happens in this case, but he's doing it to this judge too. Tim, was a judge in New York being fair when he valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million? Be real now and truthful. I don't know what he judged it on, but it's hard to imagine Mar-a-Lago with Trump's fingerprints all over it being only worth $18 million. But I don't know enough about real estate. I don't know what the actual size of Mar-a-Lago is. I don't know how much the properties in the area cost, but it seemed like it would be worth more than that. That's just my humble opinion. It seems like it would be worth more than that. So people are above the law. Yeah, well, I do think Trump is above the law. I do believe that. This judge is going to get, what does it say? This judge is going to get schooled in the fundamental law. By who? You think Trump knows more about the law than the judge? I don't see that happening. I'm not saying Trump may not win, but I doubt if Trump schools him. Anyway, looking in the comments, Democrats destroyed themselves with lies and high treason. Elaborate. How? That's on Clapper. How did they destroy themselves with lies and high treason? What is that based on? What about the DA that came up dead New York people? I heard about that. I'm sure there's a bunch of conspiracies floating around about that. I heard about that. She was like 43 years old that was found dead. They used to say that about Hillary Clinton, about the Clintons. Everybody that, gets on the wrong side of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton turned up dead. But it didn't get past conspiracy. Epilepsy, somebody said. But I did hear about that. Mr. Walter, Good evening. Welcome to the program. What do you think? You think Trump is going to attack this judge again?
Yeah. Hey, I'm on Bluetooth, so let me know if this doesn't sound good. But yeah, he is. I mean, I have seen reports. I mean, I think Mitt Romney was the first guy to say, "Hey, if you don't have a private security and you go against Trump, you shouldn't go against Trump."
Right.
I mean, this is how they operate. Trump is a mob boss. That's how he operates. The tariffs, all of this shit is like, hey, if you don't play ball, it'd be a shame. I mean, that is his MO. And I'm not trying to, I mean, everybody knows this. I mean, it's like, this doesn't take a lot of intelligence to understand.
I don't disagree with that at all. I agree with you 100%. If you go against Trump and he starts saying negative things about you, it's only a matter of time before somebody's threatening to kill you. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it happens on the left. I mean, people were pissed off with Kavanaugh and the claims about, they're going to roll back abortion rights and things like that. But Trump, it's taking it to a whole new level. I mean, with Trump, it's just went to a whole new level.
I agree that the left sometimes goes, obviously too far. But, with the Kavanaugh thing, they would protest outside of his house.
Yeah.
They wouldn't literally, give death threats. I mean, this is what these people are doing.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get back to the topic.
No, I don't disagree with you. Like I said, anybody. I mean, even the likes of Mike Pence, right all the way up to the vice president, was receiving death threats. I'm sure Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, I'm sure they all have received hundreds of death threats from MAGA.
Yes, I mean, he stated as such, and Romney, I'm talking about, has said that he has had plenty of Republican, other senators come to him and say, if I had the money, to have my own private security, I would be, more outspoken, but I can't afford it.
Wow.
That's how the mob works. And that's how this president works.
Jeez. So senators in Congress that are Republicans, because they can't afford the, full-time security, are hesitant to speak out against Trump because they don't want to be taken on by a bunch of MAGA maniacs.
Exactly. And not to say that they aren't cowards and they like the money and all of that. But,
some of that's in there. I think some of that's in there too, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I'm not, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But the threat level has never been higher under any other president.
I believe that. I agree with that.
That needs to be spoken.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
But, as far as this whole thing with the signal leak, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, was it, critical? What if this thing had gotten into the hands of the enemy, would things, have gone the other way? I don't know. But
wait a minute.
The point is that
I'm with you on that, with the exception of when DenCal came on the program and read what Goldberg released today, because I've read what was released before this, but apparently today, that reporter who got the information that was on the call, what he released, if DenCal is correct, was a play-by-play of what's happening. So, we just had a strike force launch from the carriers. I mean, literally enough that, because you said if it was in the hands of the enemy, would they be able to do anything about it? Well, if what DenCal said is true, that gives them room to, we need to go underground, we need to turn lights out, shut runways. I mean, it would have given them something.
Buddy, I agree with that. I'm saying I'm playing devil's advocate.
Oh, okay.
I agree with that 100%.
All right, okay.
I agree with that 100%. Right. And DenCal is my favorite of your listeners, man. And just side note, I really wish you did still have some of your Trumpers come on and try to defend this shit. But they don't. I remember the guy, fucking DJ, whatever.
DJ Julio.
Yeah. I never hear it from him, but let's just get back to the topic at hand. Yes, I don't think that it would have been 100% mission critical, but it would have been critical.
Hell yeah.
The point that they should at least admit that they fucked up And leadership comes from the top. And Hegseth, the guy who invited the fucking journalist onto the text thread or whatever the fuck, they should immediately, put their resignation. I mean, that is ridiculous.
So you believe this signal leak alone is enough to take Pete Hegseth out of his position?
Listen, I've listened to a lot of, Republican and conservative people, and they all admit that this is a fireable or a resignation offense. This is not debatable, honestly. But this just goes back to Trump's directive. You lead from the top, right? And Trump's directive is you never admit to fault. You never admit that you fucked up. I mean, name me one time that Trump has admitted he fucked up.
Wow, that would be hard. I think in his first term, he did originally apologize for the grab him by the pussy comment before it became locker room talk. I think he did apologize once.
Okay. How many years ago is that, man? I mean, this is Roy Cohn. This is Roy Cohn 101.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. All right. So last thing I'll say about this whole signal thing is that whether it was approved or not approved, all of these conversations by law have to be recorded. They have to have a.
But obviously that didn't happen on Signal.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. This is the point. Why was it on Signal? And what else has been on Signal? What else has transpired that we have no record or recourse to learn about?
That's an interesting point.
Watergate. That's why they have these laws.
That's an interesting point because my first caller today said that they're using Signal. He used the example. They're using the Signal app kind of like a burner phone so that it's untraceable for what they're doing. That's what he believes.
I mean, that's exactly what's happening. They have a record of how long they set these things to expire, which I think was like 2 to 3 weeks, which is not under the guidelines of law. They're breaking the law.
Wow. Well, I mean, we'll see how do you think the lawsuit's going to turn out? Because they are being sued for breaking the Records Act. Do you think that this lawsuit against the Trump administration will prevail?
Well, here we go with the courts, right? We were just talking about the courts. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen with that?
Nothing, because the courts don't do shit to Trump. Nothing.
Have you ever stood on a 3-pegged stool? What happens when a 3-peg stool loses a peg?
You about to fall. You
fucking fall. You fucking fall. And that's if the court system goes away, this all goes away.
So do you see any part? Because now my last caller, I think, and even Dencal said he doesn't see the Trump administration going nuclear on the federal courts. But the speaker did talk about we have the ability to get rid of the federal court system. Do you see a possibility of the Trump administration doing that, going nuclear on the court system, getting rid of them to get rid of the resistance?
I'm looking at the steps. I'm looking at you play chess. I don't know if you ever played chess.
Been a while.
You look at what's being set up, right? This is being set up. This is being set up to power one of the 3 branches because they already have the congressional. They already have the legislative.
They have the legislative. They have the executive. The judicial's the only one left.
Exactly. And what happens if that falls? What happens? Dictatorship.
We become MAGA America. We become America under MAGA.
We become fucking Taliban America, white Christian motherfucker. Shit is what happens.
I don't think there's any place in that society for people like me.
Or me. I mean, I get it. I'm not black, but whatever. But I have, I told you before, I don't want to get into it, but
you could probably get a parking space in the hood. It would be an inward lover parking space, but You can you probably you'd be on the chopping block too. Inward lover lives here.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you be all right. They drop you off in the hood too.
I'm telling you, man, this shit ain't gonna go good. This shit ain't gonna go well. If we don't fucking fight, that's what I'm saying. If we don't fucking fight.
Yeah, I don't disagree that if things are looking unconstitutional or looking just flat out wrong, but the Democrats are not speaking up, man. They're not really saying much.
I agree.
I mean, you can only expect so much. You can only expect so much from AOC and 83-year-old Bernie Sanders.
I give that man so much props. I mean, he has been there on the point, since John Lewis time. I mean, he's been there.
But let me ask you. Speaking of Bernie Sanders, does he have his own private security? Be shame if something happened to him.
I really don't know. Probably. Yeah. I mean, look, they always talk about, Bernie's money, whatever. He made all his money on book deals. So did Biden. So do all these people.
Well, no, I'm asking because he's been very critical of Trump lately, and I'm saying it would be a shame if he happened to choke on one of those mittens or something like that. So maybe he need his own private security too. I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, he happened to choked on the mitten by mistake.
I'm sure he has his own mitten detail, but I doubt it's what is up to JD Vance or whatever. I mean, did you see the shit where his JD Vance's wife is going to Greenland?
Yeah, I saw that
shit.
They really want Greenland. Trump really wants Greenland to happen. I mean, I'm watching some of the YouTube videos of people in Greenland. They actually are concerned that we may attack them. They are concerned. I mean, at this point, because I talked about this many times on this show, and the defenders of Trump were adamant that, look, he's just trolling, it's just a joke. But now that he's saying it at every public event, it's pretty obvious he's not joking about it. Not to mention, as you're pointing out, members of his administration actually going to Greenland. It's pretty clear Trump wants Greenland.
It's not a joke. And honestly, I think they had some audio from Trudeau talking about this guy's not fucking joking. This guy is not fucking around. And this is what I'm saying. This is a fucking mob boss who's our president. This is how he's acting. And that should fucking scare anyone on any side of the aisle.
Well,
because let me ask you, I'm going to close with this. How does it usually go down for a mob boss in a mob? How does it end? Does it end well?
No, they either get shot or locked up.
Exactly. And that's where we're headed. If this fucking guy takes us there.
Well, maybe he might go out like Al Capone and just simply die of a venereal disease. I got to move it on, Mr. Walter. Appreciate it. All right. And in regards to the whole mob boss comment, I know my beloved MAGA, this shit sounds ridiculous. I understand that, but I do see some validity to the mob boss mentality. You open up a pizzeria and they come in your shop. From now on, 10% of your proceeds come to me. It'll be a shame if something happens to your shop. And at the end of the day, as a shop owner, you can't really do anything about it. I mean, some of the police officers are on the payroll with the mafia, so ain't nothing you can really do. So you give them 10% of your profits. I do believe that one of my viewers, it might have been Mike or one of the earlier viewers, I do believe what he said it has some validity to it, whereas when you say the mob boss mentality, I think that Trump, Vladimir Putin, Benjamin Netanyahu, and perhaps even Xi Jinping of China are operating like mafia families. Like let's say you look at how things were in New York, where the families divided up to 5 boroughs. Harlem is yours, the Bronx is mine. You don't come in my area, I don't come in your area. I think that there could be, now I'm speculating. I'm not saying that this is within certainty, but in my opinion, it does seem to be looking that way. Russia, you talk to Putin, Eastern Europe is yours. We talked to Xi Jinping, Asia is yours. We're not going to get in the way of you wanting Taiwan or whatever the hell you got going on in Asia, North Korea, Vietnam, all of that. Asia is yours. America, you want the North Americas? You want the Americas, all of that? Canada, you've been talking about Canada constantly. Mexico, Panama Canal, all of that. That's ours. I do see, like I said, I want this to be wrong. So for folks, you're just speculating, you're on some bullshit. I hope I am. I hope I am. I do not want to be right about this by any stretch of the imagination. But it does seem like the folks on the planet that might be on the take that would likely entertain some type of dominated rule like this, those are the folks that Trump is becoming allies with. Those are the folks that he's starting to be friendly with. So I can see that, Eastern Europe, all of that belongs to Russia. They get the Soviet Union back, the Soviet bloc states back. Like I said, the same thing happens. We get the Americas, Mexico, all the way on down to the tip of South America. All of that could potentially be ours. Same thing, like I said, and with the other countries, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Middle East, which would be a hell of a thing for him to try to hold on to it by himself. But with the United States backing the Jews, they've been able to do a hell of a lot of damage in the Middle East. So I don't know. I want to be wrong about this. I really do. I really do want to be wrong about this. So you can criticize me on this one all you want because I'm hoping you're right and I'm wrong. Tap the screen and get the likes up to about 70,000. You know what I'm asking? Show the program some love. Looking in the comments real quick. What if it really doesn't play out like what he's saying? I think we'd be great. I think we would be much better. If what I'm saying fails to happen, I think we're all better off. Like I said, I want to be wrong on this shit. I don't want this to be right. But it does seem like the people that would likely be willing to be dictators of countries, those are the folks that Trump is starting to be favorable to. I mean, I don't, all of the dictators are the ones he's seeming to speak kindly of, and all of the folks that are for civility and freedom are the ones he seems to have problems with. What are you seeing? Liberal Democrats, cry me a river. Y'all got MAGA'd. That's true. We did get MAGA. The left did get MAGA. We'll see what happens. Why aren't we talking about how Biden let in all these illegal criminals that committed heinous crimes and yet not being held accountable? Florida Blondie, you watched this. You've been in the comments, and we've covered that plenty of times. I've given Trump, if there is one thing I've given Trump credit for over and over again, is to his promises made, promises kept on securing the border. That's one area where it's undeniable that Trump has done a pretty good job. I push back on every liberal that suggests that Trump is no better at the border than Biden. I think he's been much better. So we have talked about that, Florida Blondie. But right now, the Signal app war leak story is what's going on right now. I mean, that's what's happening right now. But we've certainly covered that. And by the way, when you suggest, what was the comment? Why are we talking about how Biden let all the migrants in that committed heinous crimes? I'll push back slightly on my personal belief is that Trump has greatly exaggerated the criminal behavior of illegal immigrants. At the end of the day, it's starting to look like, for the most part, their primary crime is entering the country illegally. All of this heinous crime stuff, no. Most of them have not committed heinous crimes. Trump just transported 200 plus migrants down to El Salvador, one of the worst prisons on the North American continent. And did he release any heinous crimes that any of them committed? He could have easily put on television as the people were walking up to the plane with their shackles and all of this on. Here's the victims of this person. Here's the victims of that person. This one killed. I mean, nothing. So, I do believe that Trump has greatly exaggerated the impact on U.S. society that the immigrants have had. I just don't believe that most of them are here committing violent crimes. There's so many people criticizing Trump for saying that. It would be easy for him to show the evidence to make the liberals look stupid. The fact that he ain't producing nothing, there's a reason behind that. There's a reason why they're not wanting to give them due process. Because it would show that most of these people are not what you're saying they are. At the end of the day, they came in this country illegally, and you want to send them to one of the most violent prisons for that alone. Or it's based on a tattoo or something like that. It's not based on anybody being raped or murdered. Most of these folks are not, they're not as violent as Trump is indicating. You call that better, says Smooth. I think that if you're going to tell me somebody's a bad hombre, and I find out they didn't rape or murder anybody, but they got a tattoo on them, yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Because now they don't have any real victims yet. So it's much better. I would much rather be dealing with people that entered the country illegally than somebody that's here that has actively raped or killed somebody. It's a lot better. It's eons better, for lack of a better term. And even the gangs thing, what is that, Chris Potter, even the notion that they're in gangs, that, when we're talking about immigrants being in gangs, once again, with no due process, the question comes up, well, what makes you think they're in the gang? They had a tattoo. They were hanging out at 2 a.m. with other gang members, so we got them by guilt of association. Without proving that they're in a gang, how do you know they really are in one? Any tattoo could be mistaken for something else. Without due process, there's no way to know if these people are in gangs or not. And like I said, that's the reason why they don't want to give them due process, because there's a good chance some of them folks that have went to El Salvador do not fit any of the narrative that Trump is saying. They didn't rape, they didn't murder nobody, they're not in a gang member, they're not any of that stuff. But without due process, you'll never know. You'll absolutely never know. That's why he don't want to give them due process, because he don't want to give them a chance to prove their case. If people are so worried about not criminal types that came here illegally, open up your home to take them in and adopt them. That ain't, I hear that a lot. That comes from the right a lot. If you want to protect illegal immigrants so much, then why don't you open up your door and take one in? I'm going to give a small rebuttal on that and push back and say this. If you are so much in favor of protecting the life of the unborn, why don't you adopt one? Why don't you hang out at the abortion clinic and when she is forced to have it, why don't you adopt it? How many children have you adopted? It works both ways, It actually works both ways. I don't know any of these pro-life people that are bragging about how many kids they've taken in. So when you're pointing out that the liberals haven't taken in a bunch of refugees, you ain't done your part either, damn it. So I just want to make sure you understand this works both ways. Looking in the comments real quick, but I do appreciate the comment. Like I said, the criticism, fine, do what you want to do, but understand it works both ways. Everyone has a reason why they do things. What was the 7 men who tried the life of the president? What? Everyone has a reason. What was the 7 men who? You telling me that 7 men tried to take the life of the president? I haven't heard that, Sean. I have not heard 7 guys try to do it. Stop it. You are being ignorant. We all know when someone is in a gang, nobody gets an MS-13 tattoo unless they are in a gang. That's bullshit. Let me tell you something right off the bat. Let's say I don't like immigrants. Let's say I do not like immigrants. I do not like brown people. Me and my boys could grab a person, pin them down, and put a damn tattoo on their back. Let them be. A couple days later, call immigration on them. It ain't like the person's going to get a chance to plead with the courts that somebody did this to me. You don't get due process. So when they show up and they see this on your back, you gone. That's what happens when you don't get due process. People have been kicking and screaming, saying, I'm not what you think I am. They don't care about that. So when you start talking about, well, you're not going to get a tattoo if you're, how do you know for certain that they did it voluntarily? How do you even know any of that? You've completely silenced them. So they have no voice to speak and tell you anything. You see it, you're taking them. You could literally go around putting tattoos on people and then call immigration because they have no voice. So I don't think you realize what's happening. I don't think you realize what no due process means. I don't give a fuck if illegals is a priest. They got to go. 9 years or 99 years old, they got to go. Damn. Papo Shelley says, I don't care if an illegal immigrant is a illegal or if they are a priest. They got to go. In other words, no sympathy. Sweep the leg. You know, listen. If the notion is we're not taking in an illegal immigrant no matter what, it's an unsympathetic approach, but illegal is illegal. Committing a crime is committing a crime. It's fine. If that's your case, you're not going to let anybody stay no matter what. I understand. But there's no reason that if a person is trying to come to America to escape poverty, escape violence or whatever, and they enter illegally, the process is to catch them and deport them. There's no reason to make up some kind of bullshit that they're a rapist or a murderer. That's the point I'm making. If the sentiment is exactly what Shelley said, I don't give a fuck if the illegal is a priest, they got to go. Fine. You don't have to call a priest a rapist or a murderer in the process, though. You don't have to make up shit and start saying that the priest is eating cats and dogs. That's the point I'm making. Just tell the truth. Either you enter the country legally or you got to go. Why make up all these bullshit stories? He's in a gang or he's trying to hurt kids and all this other wild shit to justify what you're doing when all you're doing is trying to adhere to the law, which is if you don't come legally, you got to go. Just speak the truth. That's what the problem is the Trump administration is not being honest. They're making up shit. There is a process to come here legally. Opening the floodgates is not it. Granted, the process of becoming legal should be easier to get. And that's the problem, Blake. You said there's a process to come here legally. That process is virtually unobtainable. I'll tell you one thing. Even under the Biden administration, that was favorable to immigrants coming to this country. If you remove the asylum method of coming here legally, most of them are not going to be to come here legally at all. And that was under Biden. Under Trump, for the most part, if you're coming from south of the border, it's almost impossible to come here legally at this point. I mean, the bar for what qualifies as legal immigration under Trump is so high. My guess is probably less than 5% of Mexicans could ever achieve it, even if they wanted it. They've cut off virtually all of the legal avenues to come here. Even people that did come legally and have green cards and stuff like that, they're making it reasons to send them back. So all of this notion of, well, we're okay with immigration, just come here legally. Not under Trump. Not under Trump. I mean, you're hearing people at the airport getting turned around because they had anti-Trump shit on their phone. That wasn't illegal until Trump got in office. So the whole notion of, I'm okay with you coming here, just come here legally, that ain't true under Trump. That's not true. I do believe that from what I've observed, the Trump administration is anti-immigrant, period. Legal or illegal. They are anti-immigrant, period. Now, they're going to have a rush on getting rid of the illegals because it's easier to do because you're in violation of the law. But the legal immigrants, if we can find ways to get rid of them, they go too. They are anti-immigrant, period. Unless you're from South Africa, says Gerald. Well, Elon got his own little thing about the South African immigrants. Let me go back to the box, though. Gerald MC, good evening, welcome to the program. That is so false. Trump wants people to come in. Hold up, Gerald, listen to this comment. Florida Blondie says that is false what I'm talking about. He says Trump wants people to come in the proper way, not the empathy way. We can't live on feelings. Do you think that Trump is pro-immigrant as long as they come legally?
Man, I need some of what she's smoking because that's some good shit.
I'm the same way. I mean, ain't nothing. Trump has made coming here legally harder too. I don't see it.
Except for people who have a lot of money. Yeah. And if you're of European descent from South Africa, you get a way in.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the way I view it as well. I don't. To me,
well, he said that though. I mean, remember he said he wanted to bring the people, the Afrikaners from South, give them away a pass. Who are the Afrikaners? That's the white South Africans.
Yeah, them the white perpetrators of apartheid. That's but that's via Elon. I think Elon got in his head with that one.
And yeah, that's another topic. Why the hell?
Elon calling. Elon got some favors to call in. That's what that is. So.
I know. And the biggest problem is, dude, I own a Tesla.
Really? Oh shit!
Look, I went and got me a little sign I put on there. I bought my, and this is a religious thing, but I bought my Tesla AD before BE.
You need to put a Kamala Harris Tim Walz sticker on that motherfucker. Get you a Tim Walz bumper sticker.
Man, I gotta keep it moving. I can't park nowhere. I gotta keep this thing moving.
Are you in a big urban area?
Yeah.
Have you heard of any vandalism in your town of those cars?
No vandalism, but they blocked the Tesla dealership for about 8 hours. You couldn't go in or out.
Damn.
Protesters said it blocked off.
What about resale value?
Dropped like a brick. It hurts because, when I bought this thing, and this was like 3 years ago, I bought a top of the line one. I mean, it's got everything on it, and the value of it is nothing now.
Damn.
Before it was holding value, but it's not worth anything. I mean, I could give me a Kia. I guess, I don't know.
Damn. So you got your own little swastika car.
Exactly.
Man, homie. Wow.
Maybe I can hide out and keep me some secret messages on the apps that stay under the radar.
Are you genuinely concerned though where you park it when you get out?
Sometimes. It just depends. I'm in an area where it's more Democratic than it is Republican. There are other places in the state that are not that way. Now, when I go into those areas, yeah, very, very.
Shit, it's the Democrats that's gonna get you. The progressives are the ones that want your car.
Yeah, but it's more. This area that where I am, I'll just tell you, I'm in Memphis.
Oh, damn! You got problems no matter what. You could be driving a Ford and get fucked up in Memphis. Memphis got more drama than ER, man.
Shoot, man, it is hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious, but it's crazy. I was talking with one of the newscasters at the bar yesterday. We were sitting there having a beer, and I said, "Man, why do y'all keep saying breaking news? Somebody got shot." That ain't breaking news.
Wasn't there a rapper? Wasn't there a rapper, Sauce or something? What is his name?
Yeah, I got shot 2 days ago.
Yeah, and I just heard about that.
On video. We got the whole assassination attempt on video.
Was it a Tesla? Was it a Tesla park back? Because you got a lot of cameras in that car, don't you? Wasn't it a drill rapper that got convicted by Tesla video showing him shooting people?
No, I can't remember. It was
It's in Florida.
I think they were after, I don't know who these rappers are, but the bright-skinned guy, they were after him, but the other guy was with him.
Oh.
So they were shooting, and they shot him, and if you watch the video.
And they just looked at him and let him live.
Yeah, well, no, they just missed.
Oh, damn.
They just missed. If you watch the video, they're pulling up to it's a nice hotel called the Westin. It's where all the NBA players stay when they come in to play the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. They stay at this, and it's right across from the FedEx Forum. They pulled up, and then this white car pulls up, and they roll out and start shooting.
Jeez. Yeah, you guys have a lot of money. Yeah, I watched. I be looking at some of the police videos. You guys have a lot of really good drive-bys down there. Y'all shoot the shit out of each other. Yeah, y'all really and the right keeps talking about Chicago. I'm like, no. You want to ignore Memphis because the governor of Tennessee is a Republican, but Memphis gets down. Memphis gets busy, and there are no tough gun laws to talk about with Memphis. There's plenty of Republicans nearby, and people getting shot.
And everybody, and then this, and they just passed
that law where it's open carry. You can do whatever you want. You can carry whatever the heck you want, where you want. As long as you're 21 years old, strap it up. 18 years old, strap it up.
And that ain't
walk around.
And that ain't saving nobody from getting shot. All of that bullshit about, a armed society is polite. Bullshit.
We even had a guy, he was getting robbed, and they pulled on him. He pulled on them. He shoots, misses them, hits them one time, but misses them and kills somebody else.
Oh.
People don't realize bullets they shoot, go to the criminal. The bullet goes where it's going.
So the good guy took out an innocent victim.
Right.
So they would charge the bad guy with that victim though, right?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how that works. He might get something for now. It depends on if they say it was self-defense. If the guy was
if he is actively in a gunfight, I think the case
No. His car was getting robbed.
Oh.
Right, and you can't shoot for property.
So he wasn't in. He ran out and saw his car being stolen or something?
Yeah, and I can't remember if they were armed or not. I just can't remember the story.
I think there are some states like Texas. I think you can shoot people over property.
Florida too.
Florida, yeah. So I know there's some states you can do it, but I look at it like this. I don't want somebody taking my shit, but at the end of the day, why would you? I'm not a fan, and not Kerry, but I'm not a fan of optional gunfights. If I can avoid a gunfight, I want to avoid the gunfight. There's no way in hell, because if somebody takes my car, that's a $500 deductible. So if somebody wake you up in the morning and tell you you got two choices, you can either give me $500 now, or you can get in a gunfight and possibly break even. I'm gonna give you the $500. Why would I get in a gunfight over a car? $500 deductible and it's replaced. Why would you get in an optional gunfight? It makes people. Yeah. It's a lot of ego that gets involved in it. That's why some people should not be carrying, because they literally like the George Zimmermans, the Kyle Rittenhouses, folks who feel empowered by carrying a weapon.
Right. And most of them have never been trained. I was in the military. I was an infantry officer. I probably shot more bullets than people have shot in their entire life. Because we're shooting thousands and thousands of rounds. Right. So, and I thought, I'd been out for a while, and when I went to qualify, I said, well, I wonder if I can still shoot. Shoot, I still got it.
Hey, listen, it's a skill that can save your life. But like I said, though, I'm never going to get involved in an optional gunfight.
No.
If I see some guys outside with guns taking my car, going out there to protect the car and because you never know if there's people hiding that's with them. You never know if they're a better shot than you. You could have a malfunction. You're getting in an optional gunfight to save a $500 deductible. That makes no sense to me.
Yep, and you're correct. And like I told my wife, the only time I'm going to shoot is if you guys are with me and I can't get y'all away. If I can escape, I'm going to escape.
Yep.
But if I can't get all of us out, bang, bang, here we go.
Yeah. That's the only time you should get into something like that, is when you have no other choice. That should always be the last option. This whole stand your ground thing, it's that kind of shit where they're telling people you don't have to run, you don't have to retreat, you can stand there and get in optional gunfights. It makes no sense to me. Good guys die every day.
Right, and when you shoot somebody, Tim, they don't die like in the movies where you shoot them and they go down. That don't happen.
Yeah.
That don't happen.
No,
you can shoot a guy 5 or 6 times and he's still coming at you.
Yeah, 50 Cent's still making hit records. So
it don't happen.
Yeah.
The only time if you get the perfect shot to the head, not just a shot to the head.
But how do you respond? Snow Bunny in the comments says, yeah, but if you work for your stuff. So I worked hard for this car. So I'm about to go out here and challenge. I'm about to go out here and get in the gun battle for this. How do you respond to people who have that mindset?
I worked hard to live for 6
Right.
I ain't fixing to lose my whole life, because death is permanent.
Exactly.
That car I can replace.
Damn right. I don't care how hard you work for. You worked hard to be your age, didn't you? You put more years in remaining alive than anything you got.
Shoot, man, it's nuts, because people don't really get, if you've never been shot at. Put it that way. If you've never been shot at, you really don't understand how quickly things can turn.
Wow.
They can turn, and most gunfights, in public, it's within 10 to 15 feet. You ain't shooting from a distance.
Yeah, most of that shit's over.
10 to 15 feet.
Yeah, most of that shit's over too. I see a lot of folks, they want to carry a bunch of additional magazines and stuff like that. Like, you see cops are the ones who reload in the middle. Citizens, it's over. Whatever you got in the gun, it's gonna be over with before you're gonna use that. You either gonna win with what you got in that gun, or you're gonna lose. The reloading stuff ain't gonna be involved in this. It's gonna be over with by then. I mean,
and if you hear where we are or in other areas, you shoot the wrong guy, guess what? You got a whole bunch of other guys coming looking for you. They're looking for you.
Yeah, that's a different story. As I said, no need to get in, and that's what I'm saying. No need to get in optional gunfights. There's one of the channels on YouTube I watch a lot. It's called Active Self-Protection, and the guy goes over stories. A lot of defensive gun uses, and one of the things one of the things he points out is that's what you said. Shooting somebody, they don't always drop. Some people can be mortally wounded and still be in the gunfight for quite a while, even though they are on their way to actively dying. They still can put up a hell of a fight. That's one thing. Another thing is when you run out to stand your ground, it's amazing at how many people do not realize there's somebody else with this person that you don't see that is actively gets involved in a gunfight and kills people. People get shot in the back and all kinds of shit. Like you see somebody trying to take your catalytic converter out. You see legs sticking out from under your car. So you go out there you don't realize there's a lookout guy somewhere nearby.
Right.
And that happens a lot.
Yep. It's the one you don't see that's the dangerous one.
And that's why I do believe that we should have some sort of gun training as opposed to just handing guns out. But I know the shall not be infringed crowd just wants training to be optional. I just think if you're armed, you should know what's going on. Making these ego-based decisions and shit like that. Lots of people lose their life that don't need to because people feel empowered with a weapon.
Yep. It's sad, and you see it all the time.
Do you think this stuff sounds appealing to the people in Greenland?
Hell no. Speaking of Greenland, but wait a minute. But let me. I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about Greenland. One thing that I think Trump is playing on is there's a lot of, is it Inuit, the Indian tribe, Inuit or whatever? They're highly discriminated against in Denmark.
Oh.
And most of them are from Greenland.
Wow.
So he may be playing on them because they're the ends over there. They're the N-words over there in Greenland.
But do they have any power to side with the United States?
It's a lot of them, and they vote.
Shit.
But what they don't know, they come over here, they right back.
What perhaps who they need to talk, they need to, if they are being discriminated in their country and they're starting to side with the United States, maybe they need to receive a call from Hispanics for Trump or LGBTQ from Trump, Venezuelans from Trump. Maybe they need to talk to those people.
Yeah. When he said that, when the guy they were interviewing was talking about that, the history of that area, I got to think, that's what popped in my mind. I said, man, I bet you he's playing on that, being the reason that they can vote themselves to jump, but they really can't, according to their constitution, they can't.
But something like that could happen, because I said that back when folks were suggesting if Trump did not win the 2024 election, it might be a civil war and things like that. I said the same thing. There are countries that want to see America fail, and even minorities in this country. You could play on, because they did that during World War II. They played on blacks in this country because blacks were being mistreated. If America started having a civil war, let's say it went along racial lines, which almost certainly would likely happen, there are countries out there that would come to the minority community and tell them, because they want to see America fail. So we'll give you all the weapons you need, just like we gave Ukraine weapons, because we wanted to see the Soviet Union fail. So we'll side with the minorities in America, because at the end of the day, we just want the fighting to continue. And we know that they're the smaller, lesser armed group. So we'll side with them and give them what they need to keep the fight going. And that could be Putin, that could be Kim Jong-un, that could be the folks in Iran. It could be any of those groups that have a vested interest in seeing America fall apart.
Yep, but the only thing that keeps them from doing that is our biggest defense piece, that big old ocean. The ocean between us.
There are people that can get across.
That's the only thing that keeps us, And you know, our strategy when I was in the military, we were protecting the Folder Gap. That was our big thing. We trained for that. And that's where the mechanized infantry or the mechanized group from Russia could run into Europe quickly. So we were trained on how to protect the Folder Gap, is what it's called.
Where is that at?
It's in Germany. It's right outside of Germany.
Oh. You think the Germans are okay with us staying there for a little bit longer the way we treat them? I gotta go. Appreciate you coming through.
I didn't even get to talk about any of the topics today. We jumped off.
We went a few other places, but you know how that goes sometimes.
Damn, bro.
It was a good conversation, though. It was a good conversation.
I know, but you know, I want to talk about the messages and the stuff. You know.
Real quick, what's your opinion on that?
It's definitely if I were, let's say I was an infantry soldier, and I'm getting ready to run up a hill and attack this place, and they're putting out on TikTok that, hey, you know, we're going to come at 1 o'clock. At this time, I'm running up that hill at 1 o'clock. It doesn't matter that nothing ever happened. It's just the practice of doing that.
Yep.
That's the problem. It doesn't matter what, you know, it was successful. Okay, but what if it wasn't?
Right.
People die. And it's the same scenario that Trump always uses. Swing for the fence. I'm going to swing for the fence. If I hit a home run, I'm great. If I strike out, well, sue me. And screw y'all. Look, his whole life has been like that. Look at the lawsuits he had. His businesses will run like that. He swing for the fence, get these big ass loans, swing for the fence. If it fails, I'm out bankrupt and y'all sue me.
He's had a lot of.
If he wins, he hits it.
He's been incredibly successful with the courts. I mean, there's no denying it. Whatever he's doing has been working a lot.
It's delayed. It's our court system. Delay till you run out of money. Delay. Hey. That's why none of his vendors get paid. They can't afford to take him on.
Well, as they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. I gotta move it on,
yes, sir. Yeah, all right, Doc.
Appreciate it.
Catch you next time.
Yeah, good talk, though. Good talk. We went on some other topics, but certainly enjoyed that. Nevertheless, Gerald MC. Looking in the comments, the Honorable Will G says, Trump ain't shit. He says, you mean to tell me all those Operation security briefs I did during my years in the Navy was all for nothing because it is DUI hire. Now, I'm assuming he's talking about Pete Hegseth, but yeah. Folks are suggesting it was only a mistake, though. Folks are suggesting that the left is making a mountain out of a molehill and that it was only a mistake on the Signal app. Can you imagine if a commanding officer or a general or anyone with a D next to their name, especially if they were LGBTQ or a person of color did this bullshit? Yeah, it would go ape shit. What he is saying is that as opposed to Pete Hegseth, imagine anybody with a D after that, any Democratic politician did what Hegseth and, they're using the Signal app and apparently giving out play-by-play calls of what's going on on a strike on Yemen. He's saying, can you imagine if anybody that's a Democrat or a member of the LGBTQ community or a person of color did that? Yeah, it would be all about DEI. All about DEI, claiming that they only got the job because they're a person of color, they're a member of the LGBTQ community, or they're a woman. Yeah, I know exactly what would happen because they've gotten rid of people claiming they were DEI and they actually do have merit. You can imagine if somebody with Pete Hegseth's low-ranking military persona, lack of, he didn't have a lot of, leadership experience in the military. Yeah, for certain, they would be all over it. They would be all over it. Will left my ass off. Navy makes sense. Always salt on the lips. Thanks for the ride while you say back. I'm assuming you're attacking Will there, Chris Babcock, but I don't know. Your name is Babcock, and you're talking about salt on. Okay. All right, brother, you gone. You ending the live. This was fun. Thank you for letting me rock out in that gratitude. Who says that? Made for culture. Well, all right. Mode for culture. Thank you for the input. Real quick in the comments. What else you stand for beside glazing presidents? Define glazing. I think I know what you're saying, but define glazing. I'd like to know. Continuing on, Travelman. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Travelman. It was just a mistake. It was no classified information. The liberals are blowing this out of proportion. What say you, Travelman?
Man, they lying. They're lying out of their gluteus maximus. Okay.
Trump says no classified information was released on that app.
Trump lied every time he opened his mouth.
Damn.
Okay. First of all, you cannot. When you deploy, right? I served on aircraft carriers. We couldn't even tell our wives where we were at. They didn't know where we was at unless they called the liaison for the ship.
Right.
Or we called when we got into port. So, for instance, when we pulled out one time, we was underway for 60 straight days. Our family did not know where we were at. We have email. We have cell phones. Okay? So for 60 straight days, all we had was mail. And if they didn't get the mail for 2 weeks, you didn't hear from anybody. So they didn't know where we were at. They put weapons packages. They put the type of weapons. They put the type of
aircraft and everything.
Damn, that's a bunch of BS. Yeah. That is a bunch of BS. Nowhere in military history will you put a strike package up and say that's not top secret.
Yeah.
You're just not going to do it.
Do you believe that this is so egregious that Hegseth should resign, though?
Somebody, in normal circumstances, somebody lose their job. I was attached to Single Snap Year, and I worked in the SCIF, like all that stuff you be hearing about the SCIF and with the top secret SCI. We saw all of that stuff. And if something happened of that nature that was that egregious, they would be walked out of the door so fast.
Wow.
It'd make the head swell. When it comes to that stuff, they do not play. That is operational security. You're endangering the troops. You're endangering the aircraft.
Okay, fair enough. What are the chances that maybe Trump will see this the way you are, and like you said, heads need to roll? Maybe that he will hold somebody accountable. You think there's a chance he may actually do that?
The Mango Maniac, also known as Trump Corleone,
oh my God,
is not going to let anybody go. All right, he put those people in there. This has to be the most inept, incompetent cabinet ever assembled in the history of this country.
Wait a minute, you're coming pretty hard. You're coming up with all that after only 2 months in office?
Well, it don't take much.
Damn.
It don't take much. You know, Hegseth is in over his head. Tulsi Gabbard is in over her head. Come on, man. You got the guy with the worm in his head. Okay? We bordering on a damn measles epidemic. I think it's in 10 states now.
Yeah.
You know. They claim Marco Rubio would be a good diplomat. Hell, he didn't went in there and went full MAGA. You know?
But Marco Rubio, being honest, he does have the credentials. I mean,
yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does have the resume.
He does, but he did just like everybody else that comes into contact with Trump.
Folded.
He went full MAGA.
Yeah, he folded.
You know?
Yeah.
Just like Bill Barr, you know? Everybody comes into everybody gets close to him. Okay, if they're lawyers, they either end up disbarred, disciplined, or going to jail. If they're business people, and lose their reputation, if they're business people, they end up losing their business or damn near losing their business, i.e. Mr. Potato Head. I mean, My Pillow. You know,
Michael Lindell,
everybody associated with this guy loses something.
What do you think? What do you think the draw of Trump? Because you're right, there's a whole lot of associates that have literally paid a premium for hanging around Trump. Like Giuliani lost, I don't know how much, how many millions he paid to the Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss what he did.
Yep.
You're talking about Michael Lindell, the My Pillow guy's business lost millions.
Yep.
What is it about Trump that draws people, even though folks know that plenty of folks in the past have been thrown under the bus or even literally ran over by the bus? Why?
Yeah.
What is it about him that continues to draw people, knowing that those consequences are real?
And you got Fox News that got the 700 million. Plus you got what I think Newsmax.
Yeah.
They just got hit with 40-something million. You know, it's about the power, man. It's about the power. That's all it is. Straight up. It's about power.
But are they really getting any power? I mean, Fox News, did they become more powerful under Trump?
They were his platform.
Yeah, but I don't see how they're winning it. I mean, Fox News already had a huge conservative audience. In fact, I would submit to you that a lot of traditional Republicans and even, middle of the road, slightly leaning left people like myself, I watch Fox a little bit less now because they don't stand on principle anymore. It's just whatever Trump says, we're down with it. So I don't see how Fox News benefited from it.
Yeah, they benefited from it because the other people that he brought in, they used each other. They became his platform. He doesn't even. Just recently did he go on CBS or whatever, but for the most part, 90% of his interviews, he called in. This all on Fox News. So they get that. And as a result of that, what did they get? They got Sean Hannity in the Oval Office.
Getting unfettered access to the president is worth. Yeah, that's worth a lot of money. I get your point. Yeah,
Rupert Murdoch is all about the power. And then it was something else you brought up. I can't forget what it was now. I think you were talking about them going to. He was acting like a gangster.
I see. Am I getting that wrong?
No, that's why I call him Trump Corleone.
Right.
When he went to Ukraine, that's called extortion.
Mm.
You give us your minerals. Hold on, this was really gangster because we only provided $130 billion in funding.
Right. He's telling them they owe 300 and some million.
No, 500 billion. They wanted 500 billion. That's straight up gangster. The other gangster is, hey, we like your island over there. You didn't invite us to come, but I'm gonna send my vice president. First, I'm gonna send my son. Then I'm gonna send my vice president wife, and then he used the term that Trump always used. Everybody's talking about it. Yeah. That's what they want. Ain't nobody talking about shit.
Yeah, I've been watching some clips on YouTube and things like that. The overwhelming sentiment seems to be that the Greenland folks do not want to become part of the United States. I don't see what they gain out of that at all. Why would you want? The United States is coming here for a reason. It ain't got nothing to do with strategy in 2025. We don't need that island for strategy at this point. We got we got bases in Europe already. We don't need to take that island over. Not to mention, are we already on Greenland?
We got a big base in Greenland.
Yeah, we're already there. So we don't need to own we don't need to own it.
We want the natural resources.
Right. And they know that.
Yeah, that's gangster. I mean, look at what he's done. The dude is writing executive orders. He's writing executive orders on law firms.
Yeah.
Okay. Not just recent. He went all the way back to 2016.
Wow.
He's writing executive orders and calling out private citizens by name.
Maybe that's why Rosie O'Donnell got the hell up out of here.
That's gangster.
Yeah.
Look at what he's doing, man. He took over the Kennedy Center. He fired the whole board. Then he put his own people in there, and then he said that they unanimously selected him to be the president of the board. Tell me that ain't some gangster shit.
But is that not what we voted for? The gangster in chief. We wanted a president
that's what 49% of the people that voted for.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the majority of the people did not vote for that. But the thing about it, though, also, Tim, is that you take a look at what's being done or what has been done over the last 2 months. And we still got 3 years and 10 months to go.
That's what's amazing. And it literally feels like Trump. It feels like Biden never was there. It's almost like Trump is just starting up his third term or something. It literally feels like Biden almost comes across like footsteps on a beach during high tide, where the water just came in and washed any history of Biden away.
Exactly. And look how much damage has been done. Look how much damage has been. You even have, now you got the NATO countries, Canada, France, whatever. They're actually taking a look at the fighter jet contracts that they're negotiating.
Well, yeah, they think that there's some kind of kill switch in the F-35.
Well, not only that, they think that we're not dependable anymore. You know. Now, don't forget, Sweden makes some pretty nice jets.
I've heard about that. Can we? Let me ask you this though. We obviously had a very strong relationship with European countries, with Canada, NATO member. Can we get are those relationships being permanently damaged, or is this just something we can outlive with Trump?
They're being severely damaged, and it's going to you probably talking 2 or 3 terms, 2 or 3 election cycles, 2 or 3 presidents before we can even get back to that. And that's not electing somebody else like him. Okay, that's the problem. That we put him back in there, and then they were like, okay, y'all did it again. That's it. You know, this dude in 2 months has basically disassembled the world structure that the United States set up. Nobody else set this shit up but us. Wow. We set it up, and we're the beneficiaries of it. You know, and he has basically alienated. Bro, we didn't. Usually we piss off the politicians, you know, and a few of the citizens in the country, right? Yeah. Not only have we pissed off the politicians in the countries, we pissed off the damn people. You know. Yeah.
So in other words, when
people
Trump,
people in Canada don't even, they're canceling vacations.
Yeah, they're canceling about it. They're not buying our products. They really do not like the United States.
Yeah, well, Jack Daniels, but they pulling Jack Daniels off the shelf. You know,
that's saying a lot. You're getting rid of Jack. That's saying a lot. So
you know, and then let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this, right? They just had 2 days of hearings, and those people sat up there in front of the congressional committee. And they sat up in front of the senatorial committee, and they straight up lied.
You mean in regards to the
signal, whatever, you know, signal?
Well, there's a
straight up lie, bro.
There's a lawsuit coming down the pipe, so a lot of this will happen under oath because you're right. They did say there was no classified information. I think Tulsi Gabbard did not even want to admit that TG on the live stood for her name. So yeah, they definitely were not honest.
Is it arrogance or incompetence? Because you have, when you operate at that level, they set everything up in your house. Okay, you have a skiff in your house. Everywhere you go, you have communication. Okay. So in order to me, what they were doing is trying to get around the Records Act.
That's what everybody I've had today is saying that they were using that signal. They were using Signal app like a burner phone. That's what everybody is saying.
Yeah, they don't want to use it. But just look at the incompetence though. I mean, come on, man. Come on, who the hell? And then this dude they put on there, Goldberg. Okay, he's not no poop butt reporter. This dude been around a while. He's the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic, which is a pretty decent magazine.
I kind of wonder though. How the hell did they make a mistake? I mean, to me, it almost sounds like maybe there's one member within the Trump administration that doesn't like what they're doing and deliberately leaked it to him. It's hard to imagine. You just pick Goldberg out of nowhere and send it to him. I don't know if that sounds right.
You think they got a mole?
Yes. They had moles the first time. Trump had moles the first time in his administration.
Yeah, he did. This dude was sitting in the parking lot at Safeway, reading about the weapons package getting dropped over on the hooches.
My guess is there's somebody in the Trump administration that wanted to say to Goldberg, you need to check this shit out, man. They send it to him, but they can't come out and say it. But yeah, he probably do got moles in his administration. Like you said, a lot of folks are acting the way they're acting because they're afraid. So they want to speak out, but they can't. And it would not surprise me if there are moles within the Trump administration. That would not surprise me at all.
No, but MAGA think everything is going good. MAGA think, hey, we love what they're doing, but you know what? When MAGA don't get that damn Social Security check, we're gonna see what happens.
But they said they're not touching that, so we'll have to see. You don't
say
believe
what?
them. They said they're not gonna touch Social Security.
But they laying off 70,000 people.
I'm just telling you what they said. I gotta move it on, travel man, but they claim they ain't doing it.
Well, you know what? They need an X-Lax.
Because they full of shit. Because they full of shit.
Yes, sir.
I gotta go. Travelman, always a pleasure. Oh my God. All right. Take an X-Lax. All right. Look it in the comments, by the way, or just a distraction. Maybe, in my opinion, I think the mole argument, if I had to guess, and I am doing that, I don't know what the fuck's going on no more than any of you do, but if I had to guess, I think the mole argument is probably closer to legit. That somebody in that group wanted that to get out and added this dude. I could be wrong, but how does Goldberg get added into that? How does somebody, if it leaked to Sean Hannity or somebody, maybe, but Goldberg? How does that happen? So I don't know. To me, I'd be curious to know if that wasn't intentional. I also believe, because it is apparently a criminal act or against the rules to use the Signal app, which is not obviously not. It doesn't have the security standard. It's not secure to military standard, and of course, it's not. The records of the conversations are not kept. There's anything they're doing, there should be a history of it. It should go. I mean, they work for the people. They don't get to keep this stuff. And Trump has been doing this from day one. Is a lot of things he's done throughout his time in politics. There's no record of it. Like he took, notes from a translator. That you work for the people. We're supposed to be able to request the things you're doing. Everybody talked about the Capitol building. We could break in the Capitol building. It belongs to the people. Well, he does too. And we're not holding him accountable. He's taking, he's tearing up notes and shit like that. So the Signal app, it does appear as maybe they want to use that as a backdoor way of conducting business off the record. Because there's not going to be any type of historic record on what happened, who was on it, what was said, none of that. So we'll see how that turns out, but I just wonder how Goldberg got on that. It just doesn't seem right to me. Will G says, I've had my trouble in the military. I've near some hot fires because of my mistakes. If heads don't roll, the privilege is real. I don't think heads are going to roll from that. I don't think they're going to roll from that. Maybe some low-level person, maybe Trump will make somebody low-level roll just for the sake of saying, well, see, I did something about it. But Trump circled the wagons and already began defending the administration. So I don't know about that. But continuing on, Will G says, MAGA ain't shit. It's hilarious how these MAGA Karens tell us that we can't be critical of the Trump administration, but classified material leaks are a simple mistake with one of the guys in Russia on sick. Whoa. Yeah. The Russian connection is frightening. I'm going to just say that the Russian connection, if what you're saying is true, is frightening. I don't know how it happens. I mean, at the end of the day, is it so bad that Hegseth should resign, or Gabbard, or the head of intelligence, which is what Tulsi Gabbard's role is? Now the other guy, Walsh, is the one that leaked it or whatever. I don't know, but I don't know. I'd be real surprised to see if Trump penalizes these folks, because he's already circled the wagons in effort to defend them. Will G says, this is obviously not the first time of misuse of classified materials by Trump. We told them, but they said it was fear-mongering. MAGA is just fine with it, apparently. That's true. I don't think MAGA's going to. If Trump says he didn't do anything wrong, MAGA's not going to challenge that. I don't foresee MAGA doing anything more than what you just stated. They're going to look at the end of the day. They're going to point. Biden had classified documents next to his Corvette in the garage. They're going to point, Mike Pence had them. So they're not going to hold Trump accountable on that. I don't see it at all. Hillary Clinton had a server. Why is she getting away with it? That's usually what you're going to get. These are the same people taunting us for crying. When did Q go because he ain't shit? I haven't had Q on the pro. I like my Q. I haven't had any QAnon folks on for a while, but they only came around when they were trying to suggest that Trump was going to get reinstated, going to be the 17th president, going to be the president of the corporation. All the Q kind of went away after about Biden won in 2020. Early 2021, when Biden got inaugurated in January 2021, Q was real heavy most of 2021. Kind of around the beginning of 2022, getting close to the midterms, Q started fading out. But Q was big back then. Man, I used to talk about Q all the time. In fact, Chris Christie, his book, Republican Rescue, was written in that era. And he was talking about what the Republicans need to do to get back in power. And that was one of the things he mentioned is they need to get rid of Q. Like, we got to start being the party of facts. He was talking about that in his book. Looking in the comments, Tim is Will Cheese owner. What the hell? Daddy T is home. This guy thinks Trump is a arrogant. He doesn't know what confidence looks like. Well, okay, you're saying that. So I guess you're talking about me, Sil. Kissed by a Rose, Sil. Okay, you're saying that. I guess you're talking about me. I think that Trump is arrogant, but I don't know what confidence looks like. Understand that those two things can be a synonym of each other. You can be so confident that you are arrogant. So understand that. They can't, you ever see remember the old Right Said Fred song? I'm too sexy for this. Confidence, but it's arrogant as fuck too. It can be both. Looking in the comments, we'll go tap the screen. We should get around 80,000 if some of you folks would tap the screen. Goldberg was on this morning, Joe, hinting he was a source. Yeah, Goldberg is going to be testifying before the courts now that they have sued Trump. Indicated the American Society is the name of the group. I did a video on this earlier. The American Society is the group that is suing Trump's administration, suggesting that they violated the Federal Records Act by transmitting confidential information on that app. We'll see how it goes, but that same judge that prevented Trump from sending immigrants out of the country without due process is going to be dealing with this case. Angle Fan Gaming, good evening.
How's it going, Tim? How you doing?
Hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting. So, what do you think? What do you think? This signal leak, is this a whole bunch of something over nothing?
Yes, it's a distraction. It's just there's nothing, like it was a mistake, and I wouldn't be surprised it was just a distraction to distract from all the other things that are going on.
Why would you give play-by-play war plans to distract?
I think there's just a bigger plan. Like, I'm not 100% sure. I think there's just they're trying to draw attention to this because, they don't want to talk about, all the other things that are going on, like the media and the AOC and freaking Bernie trying to campaign and just all this stupid shit like that.
Okay, so you don't want to talk about domestic issues, so you put U.S. service personnel's lives at risk to distract?
Yeah, because they know it's not gonna do anything, and if it came to something, they could be protected, but it's not gonna. It's meaningless. It's a mistake.
Would you think this was if you were the parent of a fighter pilot? Would you think what happened was meaningless to your kid? They're giving instructions that your kid's about to go bomb some nation, and they're telling it play by play on an unsecured source. You would think that is meaningless?
I would assume that they're just following orders, right?
Are those good orders?
No, but it's regardless. You have to follow your commander-in-chief.
But how would you feel? How would you feel about the notion that the commander-in-chief may have given an order that put your child in harm's way?
Of course, I'd be upset about it and question it. But if I'm that soldier, if I'm that pilot or whatever, I have to do what I'm told, or else there's
no. I'm not denying you got to follow orders, but what I'm saying is you're following orders for someone that is intentionally putting your life in harm's way, as you say, just to distract from other things they don't want to talk about. They're putting you at risk of getting killed just to change the narrative of what they want to talk about. What does that say about their value of your life?
I'm just doing what I'm told because I'm just a pawn in this machine.
Would you vote for that person in the upcoming election? If that person who did that was running, would you vote for that person again?
It depends what the comparison is. All right, if it's Trump that put me in that position, or it's like AOC that thinks airplanes have to be electric within 12 years or the world's going to end, I'm going to pick Trump.
You're going to pick the guy that put you in a position of possibly being killed because he's not forcing electric vehicles on us?
Yes, because I'd rather,
die? Because you'd rather die? Really?
No, listen. Yes, I would rather sacrifice one life. It's the greater good, Tim. Like, you sacrifice one life over the someone leading that wants to transition kids and wants to kill people and wants to, let men in, women's sports. And, it's the ideology. You have to cut out the cancer. You could take one for a million, you can't.
You're talking about somebody who put folks who are willing to be patriots to this country, put their lives on the line, and I can't believe you just said that.
They know what they signed up for.
They did not sign up for the president to out them.
They signed up to listen to what the chief says. You don't have to agree with it. You just have to fall in line. It sucks, but that's why you get your benefits when you're done. That's why you're a soldier, and you move up to the ranks. And maybe when you move up to the ranks and you're a general, you have a say. But you're never going to have a say higher than the president. Your job is to go in there and do your job. And if that's, I get it. You're just, the soldiers are just there to do their job. And that sucks that they're in that position, but
I gotta say, this is you for at least for today, you are the most shocking call I've had so far. You're literally talking somebody who put your life at risk. You would vote for them because the other guy's talking about, giving children, transitional surgeries and making electric cars. You would literally vote for the guy who did so. This is the most shocking call I've ever seen.
Because it's real. I'm standing on business.
You're standing on some shaky ass business.
No, because all right, if that is my option, or I know that I'm this group of people are gonna kill a bunch of babies, I'm gonna take that one person's death.
Have you served in the military? Have you served in the military before?
No.
Okay. Neither have I, but some folks in the comments was asking that. I'm still shocked you said that.
But like I said, everyone knows when they sign up for shit what they are.
No, you don't sign up for somebody to send you on an operation and then reveal the nature of the operation which can get you killed. You sign up thinking that everybody involved are patriots. You don't sign up to work for people who would do something unpatriotic.
No, I mean, you sign up thinking that they have your best interest at heart.
And clearly in this case, they did not, right?
No, obviously there was a screw up. Someone did something wrong. Bad decisions were made. But that has nothing to do with you. You're just in there doing your job. You have no say.
Should anybody face any discipline for this?
I think maybe the person that did it probably should be fired or whatever. But I don't. That again goes into politics. Then the Democrats, look at the weakness. Look, they fired the person. The administration is falling apart and everything. So you can't. That's why Trump never agrees to anything. He never backs down. He never says, yes, I failed. And that's what the Democrats want. That's what women say to do. It's like, admit your faults. Admit what you did.
To be honest with you, and I get your point. The Democrats are, going to play politics on this just like the right would. I'm not taking that point away from you, but the point I'm trying to make is this shouldn't be a right or a left thing. This is wrong militarily wise. It has nothing to do with politics. Transmitting secret information, confidential information that could get people killed has nothing to do with what letters behind your name, right or left. I mean, or Republican or Democrat. That has nothing to do with this. If you had a room full of Republicans and a Republican did this, or a room full of Democrats and a Democrat did this, no opposition in the room, they should all still collectively agree that was wrong. So
it shouldn't have been right or left when that kid that had 4 brain cancers surgeries, tried to join the Secret Service and was being, noticed and appreciated, and was the honorary member of the Secret Service.
What does that got to do with
and
this?
The Democrats didn't give a damn. Yeah. They didn't clap. They didn't give a shit.
What does that got to? Okay, the Democrats did not stand and clap for a child. Hold on. The Democrats did not stand and clap for a child with cancer. What the hell does that got to do with this?
Because it's ideology. They don't give a damn what the situation is. What they say, if you show any kind of weakness, they're going to jump on you. So
you leave military service personnel on the limb because you don't want to cave to the Democrats. That's what you're telling me.
No, the person that made the decision, like I said, should be fired. The person that is flying the plane, you're doing your job. So like you have to do your job. You can't just be like, no, chief, I'm not doing that shit. There's punishment for that. Like I don't know what you want me to say. These are all like simple conclusions.
We started the conversation now with me asking you why they did this, and you said probably to deflect from things. And then as you and I kept talking, you've done you're talking about the kid with cancer you're deflecting your ass off. You got a mirror on your bottom.
That's an explanation. It's the explanation on their freaking logic, their thinking process.
Well, in regards to the kid with cancer, you do know that Marjorie Taylor Greene showed Hunter Biden's penis on the House floor, and the right didn't have no problem with that, but they want the liberals to stand up for kids with cancer. You're okay with showing the president's son's dick on the House floor. You're okay with that, but they don't stand up, and all of a sudden we want to criticize the left?
No, I don't think she should have done that. I think
I didn't hear nobody on the right complain about it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is just my opinion. I don't condone, I don't condemn her for doing that.
Why not?
Right to do it.
Why not?
Because I think if it was wrong in Congress, they would have punished her for it.
No, they not. The Republican Congress is not going to punish Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're not going to punish her for doing that.
Yeah, and then the Democrats use that as opportunity. Oh, look, Hunter, she likes showing dicks and all that kind of stuff. Everyone was talking about it. It was a big thing. Everyone had some fun with it, and then people moved on. It wasn't.
Why can't they move on with the kid with cancer then?
Because that was just shameful. The dude just had 4 surgeries. He's got his.
So
dream.
showing the kids. Showing Hunter Biden's
situation, Tim.
Showing Hunter Biden's
situation.
You said it was shameful. Showing Hunter Biden's penis on C-SPAN, where any kid can watch C-SPAN in school, that's not shameful at all, huh?
No, because he's a public figure. That's the president's son. It's like a celebrity. Oh, a celebrity, and naked pictures come out. Everyone knows who the fuck you are.
So you
I'm sorry, but you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have motherfucker's dick just out there with someone. But if it's available to be shown, then obviously someone fucked up and you shouldn't be showing it. But that has no comparison to a little kid that has cancer. Hey, little kid that's making a wish, trying to get his dream come true. Fuck you. I'm not standing for you. I'm not clapping. Fuck you. Die. That's some bullshit.
You said they can show Hunter Biden's dick because he's a celebrity.
Yes.
The fact that kids can be watching C-SPAN, you're totally okay with them seeing the actual genitalia on C-SPAN.
Yeah, because I don't know a damn kid that watches C-SPAN. That's 60-year-old people. Are you kidding me?
All right.
I don't know what C-SPAN. Come on.
Oh my God. You got my cheeks hurting. I haven't laughed. I got to move it on. Angle fan, but damn, you really killed it today. You knocked it out the park. Okay.
You're the best, Tim. Appreciate you. Thank you. Have a good one.
I gotta go. Angle fan, appreciate it. Anytime. My door's always open to you. Thank you. Angle fan news, everybody. Looking in the comments. By the way, I do, like I said, we're all about free speech. You don't have to agree with the host on any damn thing on this program at all. My last caller was a prime example of that. We're about free speech here. So understand we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. You hear me say that often. Tap the screen. 85? We're close to 85,000. I think we can make that certainly happen. Looking in the comments, Will G says Trump is just adding to the BS more ammo. I think my last caller probably did that pretty well. My bro is willing to sacrifice his life for a motherfucker that didn't even want to serve. It's always the ones that never serve with the biggest mouths. He made me laugh really hard at that. But Will says they said my last caller was willing to sacrifice his life for a motherfucker that didn't even serve. Bone Spurs didn't even serve in the military. It was funny. I don't know if Angle fan was just pulling my chain, but listen, I let the guest speak. It was funny. The only reason Trump is president of the United States is the only reason only reason Trump is president, I guess the only reason that Trump is the president is to achieve ultimate power and extorting people that can't defend for themselves. Well, when you got the military prowess of the United States, that's most of the world. That's most of the world. You're saying that Trump is only there as president, to exert his power, bully people, and go after people that can't defend themselves. When you got our military, that's most of the world. Most of the world cannot defend themselves from the power of America. Whether it is military, whether it's sanctions, whether it's devaluing their currency, there's nothing they can do. There's a handful. There's probably about 180 countries on the planet. Probably about a dozen countries, maybe about a dozen countries that could put up a little bit of a goal where we might say, look, it ain't worth the battle. But for the most part, most countries on earth, if we want to fuck with them and bully them, there's not a lot they can do to stop it. There's just not a lot they can do. The caller does know that Trump cut funding to treat the cancer that the kid has been stricken with. The whole kid with cancer thing was hilarious to me. Now, my last caller started out by admitting the whole Signal app thing may have been a distraction. What do you think the kid with cancer thing was? That was a distraction. If the liberals had stood up for that kid with cancer and clapped, then they would have been talking about Al Green, the congressman that was chastising Trump over Medicare concerns. They'd have just moved on to something else. Right now, they're criticizing the liberals because of the kid with cancer, because it stands out more. It's a child. It plays on the heartstrings. But if they had stood, they would have just moved on to something else they did. And they would not have given the liberals any credit for standing for that kid. You're just literally looking for something to chastise. So they didn't stand for the kid. I get it. It kind of comes and goes. And as one of my callers pointed out, if you're not going to actually pass any bills to help out kids with cancer, if I'm dying of cancer or I'm stage 4, applauding for me don't do shit. Give me something that has some value to maybe prolonging my life. Standing up and applauding for me has zero value. Trump paid the family to be there. I don't doubt that he probably looked out for them. That's kind of how it works, though. That's not something unique to Trump. If they fly you out there, because the liberals do it too, when they have, listen, there's an agenda for both sides. Like the left is pro-choice. So if the left were to hold an event, they're going to bring some woman out there that almost died because a right-wing state would not give her an abortion. I think they had Kate Cox out there under the Biden administration. They did the same thing. They're going to pay hotel fare and all of that to fly them out there to fit the narrative of what they're trying to pass. Just like when Biden was trying to pass the George Floyd bill, for instance. You'd probably fly members of George Floyd's family out there. And you're going to pay for them to come out there and put them up in a nice hotel. I mean, what Trump did is not unique in that case. You're going to fly people out there that fit the agenda of the bills you're trying to pass. Like Trump was trying to pass the Lincoln Riley Act not long ago. So you're going to fly Lincoln Riley's parents out there or family out there, or maybe some other immigrant victim, some other person that was victimized by illegal immigrants. You're going to fly them out there to fit the narrative. Just like under the liberal administration, you might see somebody being flown out there that is a family member of an innocent victim in El Salvador, with a big ass picture of their son graduating out of high school or something like that. Saying that my son is a good boy, and they don't send him to El Salvador. I mean, that's just how they do it. That's just plain politics. Looking in the comments, sorry, I mean Elon cut cancer research. Well, it's the Trump administration. I mean, Trump is pretty much giving Elon carte blanche to do whatever he wants. And now that some of the things Elon Musk is doing have become toxic to Trump administration, they're trying to claim, well, Elon ain't responsible for firing people. Bullshit. There's way too many quotes out there of Trump literally congratulating Elon for doing that stuff. But now that it's not working and too many folks are showing up at town halls and veterans are getting pissed off, they're trying to pretend like Elon ain't responsible for it. To put somebody else under the bus. Everybody knows Elon Musk is the reason people are getting fired and federal departments are getting cut. I think everybody knows that. But they're trying to save faced with that. Looking in the comments though, Leon, not Leon, Elon. Well, if you move the letters around, if you move the L and the E before the L, you have Leon. Leon. Looking in the comments real quick. Got me having a Biden moment over here. Blondie, what good has he done? Are you talking about Trump? I think, listen, in regards to what good has Trump done, it ain't all bad. You don't know. I said this early in the beginning of the live. There's no way to know. I think the jury is still out on Trump. There's some things that are bad, like the whole signal classified information. That's bad. There's no way to make that look better. But everything from the tariffs to what else has he done? I mean, the point I'm making is this. That stuff may actually turn out to be really beneficial for America. The waste and fraud that Elon claims to be finding. If it turns out that we can get rid of all of the people that Elon terminated and still have an effective government, then he saved us a ton of money. That could be a good thing. Right now, it doesn't look that way because we don't know. We don't even know if what Elon is saying is true. But I'm saying that it possibly could be good in the future if it turns out that way. You got to give it time to see. Same thing with the tariffs. The tariffs could possibly bring a bunch of jobs back to America. You don't know. So I do say for Trump, in some of these areas, the jury is still out. I don't say what he's doing is terrible, but I'm not going to celebrate it. If you're on the left, you're just going to criticize Trump blindly. If you're on the right, you're just going to celebrate anything they say. I'm not in either camp. I need to see evidence. If Elon is finding billions of dollars in waste and fraud, that could be a really good thing for America. But I need to see proof. The right is just going to take anything he says he found as fact and start celebrating. Too much shit he said already has come out to be false. So I need to see evidence of it. So same thing with the immigrants. You're getting rid of gang members, you're getting rid of rapists and murderers. That's a good thing. You're making our country safer. But I need to see proof they're actually rapists and murderers. I'm not like the right where you just got to say it to the right and they just believe it. The right believes that everybody on that plane going down to El Salvador were bad people. They don't need proof. Trump's word is enough. I'm not in that camp. I need to see evidence. In 15 years, you can't build new steel plants in 4 years. Like I said, we got to see what happens. I mean, my guess is if you get a liberal president following Trump, they're going to be eating crow all over the world. Remember Obama got elected and they were claiming he was on an apology tour in the Middle East? That's going to be necessary after Trump. That's because allies are going to be asking questions right and left. Why should I trust you? Why should I get in a deal with you? How do I know that the next guy after you might not just throw what you and I are talking about out the window? What are you doing in your country to make what the last guy did more difficult to achieve? Otherwise, why would I sign a deal with you? Why would I get involved in any deal with you when the last guy has proven that the next guy could just throw that shit out like the wind? I need some solid legislation from your side where far more of you are required to throw out the deal we're making. I'm not going to make any deal with you that I know that one man can end from now on. That's how I would, if I'm France, if I'm Germany, that's how I'm saying it. I'm not getting involved in any deal with you that one dude can get rid of. You let me know when you've talked to Congress. You let me know what law was passed and what's required for the next guy to get rid of what you and I are agreeing on. If it sounds like it's more ironclad, we may be able to talk. But this getting in deals with you when one man can end that shit is over with. There's no way I'm going to make any. This is what I would say if I was any European country. I'm not going to make any deal with you anymore that one man can end. Because the last dude ended a bunch of shit. Let me know when you've talked to Congress and all of that. And let me know what's required to end any future deal we make. If it sounds like it's strong, we might have a talk. But if it's up to one man, you can leave the phone on the hook. Don't even call me with that bullshit. Look it in the comments. Hey, if you go by a cane If you go by Kane and mention Al Green's name, you'll get a discount on what? Paul Saulson's a terrorist traitor, Nazi, who supports pedo. Damn. Not a big fan of Paul Saulson, huh? Wow. Trump is the only president that's not racist. We are moving forwards. Jesus, I don't know why you typed that. Since Trump is the only president that's not racist, we are moving forward. And listen, I've been around for 50 years. Every single president we've had, I've heard the right say that person is not racist unless it was politically expedient to say so. Because they've been telling you racism ended hundreds of years ago. So by you saying that Trump is the only president that's not racist, you're pretty much admitting that America has been dealing with racism right up into January of this year. Goes against the whole narrative that the right has been saying my entire life, that racism ended hundreds of years ago. Why won't you guys get over it? Now here you are admitting that all the presidents in my entire life except for Trump have been racist. Okay, all right. Like I said, whenever it's politically expedient, you use what you want to use. Anyhow, folks, I didn't get quite to 100,000. It's amazing what some people say. I didn't quite get to 100,000, but I do appreciate the 87. Some of you folks tapped the screen, made it for a good program. By the way, if you do enjoy this type of dialogue, as always, feel free to follow. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Clapper, we often do lives on Instagram as well. So generally, we're on Instagram and TikTok, or we're on TikTok and Clapper simultaneously. Follow the program. If you're on YouTube, feel free to drop a subscription. If you walk like a duck, swim like a duck, Trump is a racist. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. If you want your son pro-level wrestling, send him 2 to 3 years. Don't know what you're sitting there, but appreciate you folks tuning in. As always, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay up, follow the program. Have a good night. And don't know what I just hit there, but yeah, there we go. Catch you guys tomorrow.